I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral disorder, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, I'm proud to be. In whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, I'm proud to be. In whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny, I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass asexual polyhedral dice order, and proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so I'll
Okay. Welcome to the internet, where apparently strawberries are nuts.
They put it in it. They can't put anything on the internet that's not true.
Bacon.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Oh, all right. Well, why don't we get started? Because apparently we're also missing Knox tonight.
Damn.
So he just messaged me back saying he's not going to make it.
Yeah, because he said he had training or something.
Yeah, I just didn't know if he was.
Say he wasn't going to show up.
I didn't make an overlay for 2 of them missing. Fuck.
No!
Oh, combat screen it is. Put something interesting up there at all times.
I haven't checked my source, but it's one of the first ones that comes up.
ifiscience.com, yeah, that sounds legit.
It's totally legit, right?
Yeah.
Go to imright.com and I just type in whatever and I go, see?
Ta-da!
He's working on Shango's cognitive dissonance.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm totally going to trust a website that has ads on it for Nutrisystem.
Hey, the ads are just what's targeted towards you. The ads are just targeted towards you. That has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, that's a rough realization for you there, Billy.
Big Brother is always watching.
Yeah, I'm not going to trust this website, sorry. And looking at it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started, shan't we?
Sure.
Let's shall.
Seeing as how everyone who is here...
Is here?
Everyone who's going to be here is here.
Cool.
So, last session, you guys went on your bullet hunt with 3 big stone giants named Rock, Boulder, and Stone. And not only did you all manage to survive, as well as make sure that the 3 giants survived, you were also able to capture 3 bullets, including the bullet alpha.
4. There's 3 little ones over here, and then the big one.
Yeah, so 3 bullets and then the bullet alpha.
Okay, I thought you said including the alphas.
I meant including as in as well as the bullet alpha. So as you were able to capture all 3 of them with Cortana, you were able to subdue the bullet alpha with a lot of help from your friends.
I get by with a little help.
And only shortly after it had swallowed Tharn,
He got better. He's fine.
who then banished it from inside its stomach.
Hey, sorry I'm so fucking clutch.
Don't apologize. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, that was a
That's our
sarcastic
first
apology. I was not apologizing for
Sorry,
being
not sorry.
fucking clutch.
And we ended the session right after you had subdued and gained control over, I believe, what you guys were calling in the Discord chat, Fluffy.
Yes. Fluffy is the best.
Fluffy, the defender of Whitestone.
As all of you kind of relax for a second, realizing that the danger has kind of passed, and you have your bullets, the stone giants all kind of look around at one another and look down at you with a look of a combination of respect and surprise.
Oh yeah, equally surprised, if
Yes.
not more so.
Are they that surprised with me, though?
It's all planned.
You've never been bullet hunting before, so they're still a little surprised. This is a tribe that you've gained the respect of and trust of over time, though that doesn't necessarily mean that they thought that you would be adequate at their traditions and their way of life.
All right.
More than adequate. Woo!
Well, I look at one of the giants, and in giant, I go, "Shall we get more? Or bring these back."
Rock looks at you and says in giant, because that's the only language he knows how to speak. He says, "This is a pretty good haul. We should probably get to work skinning and carving up the two that we killed."
Well, I mean, wouldn't we be able to simply throw them onto the backs of the large one and bring it back to camp to have that done?
Yes.
Excellent.
We're not used to catching the big ones, so
Well, that's why we're here.
honestly, I'm still a little surprised that it happened, to be quite frank.
I'm not. That's why I brought these young whippersnappers with me. I've been training them for just such a thing.
Just awkwardly patting them and keep making sure it doesn't do anything.
There's a deep rumbling that's coming from it that you would refer to as a purr, though you've never the size, the bassiness due to the size of this thing. It sounds almost more like rolling thunder.
Like a purr and an earthquake had a baby.
This is
Yeah.
This is
This is it.
So it sounds almost like a rock slide.
This is fine.
This one I like.
But so the two of the stone giants walk over, grab the dead ones, and walk up to the giant bullet, which turns to them, because it's subservient to you, Cortanus, not necessarily to them yet. So as they approach, it kind of turns and snaps at one of them before they kind of hop back real quick.
You like
And they
quickly
kinda
put
look
out
over.
a hand with the sword, like keep it back. Like no.
And it, as you commanded, it acquiesces, and they throw the corpses of its kin onto its back. And they say, the one stone giant towards the bottom here that I'm sorry, the three that you guys killed, that was down here. You can actually see the one that got ambushed when it was trying to retrieve the lure device. You can see that he's actually bleeding fairly profusely from his right leg, where a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm actually going to cast a 3rd level Cure Wounds on him.
Okay.
Tharn, can you ask or never mind? Apparently you're healing you are already.
20 points of healing.
Yeah, I meant to do that at the end of the last game, but we kind of exited out.
Yeah, you reach out and touch his calf, which is like the size of you, and the healing energies of the wild mother flow through you and into the calf, and you watch as all the puncture wounds and tears from the sharp, jagged teeth of the bullet seal up, and there is nothing but dried, crusty blood left on his thigh, or on his lower leg. And he puts a little weight on it and nods, and Giant says, "Thank you. It would have been a long walk back to the camp."
Our friend is all better again, Tharn?
Well, not all better, but certainly on the mend.
Yeah, he's doing. Yeah, he's
Good.
not. He's actually at. You topped him out actually.
Yes, all better.
Very well.
See that last? He's like, no, he's still healing. That wound just closes shut. He's good now.
Like 3, 2,
gonna-
1.
Now, I'm gonna land next to Nox and clapping on the back. It's like used to this flying I could get, and flap my spectral wings a little bit. That are probably dissipating right about now.
Lasts for 10 minutes actually, so you probably got a solid
minutes left.
8 or 9 minutes left of your flight.
Sweet.
Corkscrew.
Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
This hunting reminds me of back on time when in the summit peaks we used to hunt. Yet no bullets. But others.
It'd be hard to find bullets on something called the Summit Peak. They're underground creatures primarily.
Yes, hence why we. Never mind.
Back to camp.
You did hunt a fair amount of wyvern up there in your day, though, Shango.
I did do wyvern, yeah. I was wondering about that actually.
As you guys are kind of talking and standing around, the third of the bullet carcasses is tossed onto the back of Fluffy. As the one giant gathers up the contraption for luring out the bullets, and turns to you, Tharn, and says, "We should head back and see how the other parties have done. If we need to come out for a second day of hunting, we always can."
Yes, of course.
Mighty
If I
successful
remember
day.
correctly,
This
I
seems
was
to
the
be.
one who suggested going back to the camp, actually.
I was agreeing with you.
Yes, you were.
Okay. And he he turns and they start walking back towards the direction that you guys came. The bullets that you've trained kind of fall in behind the alpha
We are returning, I presume.
as it.
Talking about the big bullet or red.
Consensus, Thon.
Yes, we are returning to the camp so that the killed ones might be utilized and the other ones can be properly herded.
Very
Would
well.
seem a bit of a difficulty to keep them on leash out here whilst also finding more and what have you. This is not a bad take for the day.
Yes,
Agreed.
a mighty successful day. This is.
Cause,
Otherwise, it would be to press on.
Occasionally gives a side glance to the big one, like a little bit awkward seeing dead ones of its just on its back. Okay, like this is fine. This is not strange at all.
The three smaller bullets are limping quite visibly, as the majority of them were beat up pretty harshly, as well as the alpha. All of them were beat up pretty harshly in the course of the hunt and the capturing.
Perhaps we should heal them in case anything else comes at us.
They'll be fine.
I just walk up to two of them and I just put out my hand and I just cast Cure Wounds on both.
Okay.
For both first levels.
Give me a. Excuse me. Give me a
wounds check, yeah.
A couple cure rolls there. 8. They're still fairly beat up, but you heal them up enough to where they're not going to be slowing you down too much on the walk back. And Fluffy, I believe, was at 1 hit point when you subdued him. So
I'm not healing Fluffy. Fluffy probably doesn't like me right now.
I have a healer's kit, I think, but that's not all I could do.
And I could heal Fluffy. Please stand next to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I could heal Fluffy also.
Approach him I can? Or must I thorn?
Of course you can approach him, though I would be careful. They are still quite jumpy, and best I can tell, Cartanis seems to be the one that subdued it, so it would be most likely to listen to her.
Fair. I presume wise it is to patch up the wounds. Familiar I'm not with the holding of these bullets.
They seem to be moving around just fine. These monstrosities know what they are doing.
My only concern was any other creatures that may attack us on the way back, but perhaps not.
Certainly. So, walk up slowly to Fluffy, holding one hand out.
And Kataska put a hand out first just to like make sure it knows.
With you
it's fine.
there, Cortanis, it seems to be dealing with it fine.
Giving him 15.
15, yeah. As you fall in behind the giants and start making your way back to the camp, the going is a little bit slower because you have to continuously herd the bullets back into the group, making sure that they don't run off. Couple of the giants, the ones that they had subdued, they almost walk next to them and kind of like a dog on a leash, make sure that they keep up and continually, creating that bond and, strengthening that dominance over the creatures.
Copy V on the way back. I'm just talking with folks. Copy V used to an interesting hunting technique. A mountain eagle. Has anyone ever seen hunt goats?
Yes.
Well, it's curious. I find their method of simply tossing the goat off the cliff. We tried to copy with our what are they called again? The Ashari wind runners. Right.
The people are called sky
Sky
dancers, but
right, the thing they use.
the device is wind riders, I believe.
Wind riders. Do you have it or?
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
D Beyond, everybody.
This is
Sky sails. Sorry.
sky sails. Yes.
Yes.
To employ the sky sails, we tried to imitate the mountain eagles and simply bash the goats off the cliffs on which they're standing. Not very successful, that is, though. Too fragile they are, but fun.
Tried to kick a goat off a mountain.
Yes. The impact breaks the neck and
Awkward.
Makes perfect sense to me. You see, in the wild, beasts are quite wise in the ways of providing for themselves. Mountain eagle understands that head-to-head with a goat, it could not kill it. Also, nor is it large enough to simply lift it up and take it with it. However, by knocking it into a valley and killing it with a fall, the entire body is splayed open so that it might feed.
Indeed.
I see.
It's the way of things. One thing dies, so another thing might feed so that it might live.
I think someone with cognitive function that understands that they cannot fly would risk flying into a mountain to kick a goat off it. Do you think that is logical?
Interesting attempt was made.
Did it work?
Person perish is what I'm asking.
that it did not work very efficiently.
So they perished. So someone attempted to kick a goat and they died.
No. But rather inefficient it is to use the sky sails. The more traditional hunting methods are more effective.
I'm just going to look over to Ren and I'm just going to go and I'm just going to give her a huge eye roll. And I'm just going to start just walking forward.
She's a little distracted for a bit before kind of noticing that and just.
Yeah. People on the hunt, people perish, or in the mountains, people perish. A dangerous territory it is. Yet I'm not aware of the Scoutsail hunt anyone. No. While I was with them, no one perished.
Which mountain range is this you speak of?
The summit peaks. Home of the
yes.
Arashari.
Yes, to the south of here, quite a ways. Midway down the continent, yes?
Yes, south, east. It's right over on the east coast of the continent.
I've gazed upon them before.
Have you been up them?
Only through the foothills, not to the top. Seemed unnecessary. It's only worth it to go up over a mountain if you need to come down on the other side. I did not.
Disagree, I do on that. It is worthwhile going up just to look down.
What I see from up there, I could see from down below just as well.
A different
In
perspective.
fact, I could be amongst it.
A different perspective it gives you seeing from up, and simply enjoy the sensation of the peak.
Enjoy the sensation of the peak. It's just high land.
Yes, I would. As a
Something Fike is very
portal.
versed in.
As a creature total of nature, I would think you are to appreciate and enjoy nature. I puzzled I am by your matter of fact approach.
Nature can be enjoyed by being in it. One does not simply need to walk to the highest peak to look down upon it. I am not its master. It is not worth it for me to gaze upon nature, but instead to be within nature.
Are you not in it by climbing it?
But I would be on top of a mountain which is still there.
Which is part of the nature.
Many things are part of the nature. It's not important that I do not step on every square foot of ground just to make sure that I have been there.
Not say then I just shake my head. I was like, okay, something clearly doesn't get through here.
Yes, I remember this exact conversation.
One does not just walk through a field and go, well, now I've been to this part of nature. One more step, now I've been to this part of nature. It makes no sense.
Yes. Indeed. Certainly right you are.
Oh. Note to self, don't take Thorn to Disneyland. Disneyland.
You mean the place where they paved over perfectly good nature to put in inane rides so that young children could be amused for 2 minutes at a time? Sounds horrible. I bet the drinks are very expensive.
Mouse!
Right in my heart. Right in my heart.
Truly, though, as someone born and raised in Orlando, fuck Disney. Fuck Disney.
Someone who's also born and raised in Orlando.
There goes that.
Fuck Disney or fuck Disneyland, or both?
Fuck Disneyland, but definitely, but I like Disney World.
I was living there for 3 years. I didn't go once.
You didn't miss anything. You ever been surrounded by 100,000 sweaty, angry tourists? It's basically just that.
Yes, all the time.
Yes, I've been to Dragon Con.
Dragon Con.
Also couldn't afford to go, but anyway, Cortanus, you fall in with Seao.
Mm-hmm. How are you doing, Seao? Any injuries that they need to look at?
Not really. I actually did pretty well in this one. I don't think I took too much. So, yourself?
Fine. Fine after that. It was a bit difficult at first, but
Pretty crazy. You got that thing to submit to you pretty easily.
I doth not believe that in the slightest. It was a group effort. I was simply learning. But I am as surprised as anyone, if not more so. Hopefully it shall help the tribe, at least.
I think you just recognize your warrior spirit.
Yes, I'm certain that was it. Like, awkwardly, like, not quite believe. It's quite... Well, cute is not the word I would use, but it's interesting.
Sorry.
It's not as terrifying as one would expect up close when it is not trying to eat you.
As you're walking, it's
You
Tread
could also
on each
define
step.
Tharn the same way.
Well, maybe if you give,
He's not trying to eat you.
maybe if you give him a bow tie when we get back.
It's much quieter than Tharn, to be fair.
as the ground rumbles with each step.
It's fine, it's fine.
It takes. I'm sorry. Were you guys?
No.
Sorry.
I don't know. Just doing something while they were talking about that.
Yeah. It takes the better part of the rest of the day. And you can watch as the sun is setting behind you as you make your way back to the camp, disappearing over the horizon. You can see that there are many fires lit at the campsite. And you, from a distance away, actually can hear large drums playing, the sound of laughter and celebration as you approach.
Let's see if
It appears.
if things have gone well.
Yes, it appears so. Other hunting parties seem to have had success themselves.
Excuse me. As you make your way into the camp, you can feel the ground rumble. At first, you think it's from Fluffy's footsteps, but as you get closer into the camp, you can see that there are about a dozen or so stone giants dancing in a circle around the large bonfire in the middle of the camp. And with all of them jumping up and down, it's actually shaking the immediate vicinity of the earth a little bit. You can see off to one side there are several Goliaths and stone giants in the process of skinning, filleting, and beginning to utilize all the various parts of what looks like dozens of bullet carcasses. Off to another side, you can see what looks to be some large makeshift fences with very thick stone floors, or cages with very thick stone floors that encase 2 or 3 bullets that are kind of like walking around in little circles as you guys all begin to approach. When the camp notices you for the first time with this enormous bullet walking behind you, like the drums and the music stops, the dancing stops, and it's almost like that like saloon where
Hey, Otis!
everybody stops and looks over. At first nervous, you see a couple of the giants go for like weapons and stuff because they see this enormous bullet, but when they realize that it's been subdued, they all kind of stop as Stone Shaper Dehune comes jogging up and looks at the group of you and just is
Greetings.
We
Whose
have
turn
more
we
for
have?
the feast and for the herding.
I
Couple
can,
slain ones are on the back.
I can see that. She says it. She says in common, and oh, is that an alpha?
Yes.
Oh, this is a blessing. This has not happened since the days of my grandmother's grandmother.
Yes, well, it ate me, and then I made it disappear, and then we brought it back and subdued it.
And accurate recounting.
An interesting tactic.
Yes, I thought so.
Not done on purpose.
I was like,
Um,
planned this was?
She reaches out
Useful one.
with her hand and touches the head of the Bullet Alpha. You see her mutter some words under her breath, and some magical druidic energy flow out of her. And you watch as the Bullet's eyes glow a vibrant green color, as several other stone giants come and collect the carcasses off the back of it. And it looks at the Bullet. The stone giant Dehune looks at the Bullet and says, and points to the large cage, which you're nervous might not even be large enough to hold it. But she points at it and says, "Go." And it and the other 3 bullets that you've captured, just almost like soldiers in a line, begin to march off into the cage, which closed behind it.
Do I recognize the spell she cast?
Right.
Make just a straight intelligence check.
Or what it's called, we have to say it in an adorable voice. Dominate monster.
You do not.
Great control you have, Stone Shaper, over these beasts.
Oh, it's skills I've learned from the stone shapers before me.
Are they useful? I bet they are.
In dealing with the bullets, certainly.
How went the rest of the hunt?
She turns and looks over at gestures over at the rest of the camp, and she says, "As you can see very well, I have communed with the Wild Mother, and she has told me that the rest of the bullets flee the valley for their mountain home. We have succeeded, and you are much to thank for that."
Well, I said it would be done, and it is done.
To
I am a
return
keeper
to
of my word.
To return to the mountain home we wanted them to, correct?
Yes.
Good.
After this hunt, we should be able to return to our home at the base of the mountains to the west, near the foot of the Authenden Lake, where we can continue to, at smaller numbers, corral the bullets that return there, and our way of life may continue on.
I'm glad we could
What?
be of assistance, Julie.
But this must be a night of celebration.
So celebrate we shall.
To bring back an alpha. You have proven yourself to my people, and you will be celebrated. Come! And she turns and gestures towards the group as the music strikes up again. As the giants start dancing around the circles, that drink that was being handed out the other night is being handed out
Oh,
again.
no.
If you can choose to abstain, should you?
Does it,
Are you
does it
kidding
appear?
me?
I do what I did the other night. I
Yeah.
take the drink and just sort of like lift it, but don't actually like drink
Drink
of it.
any of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
does it
a
I
little
want the-
sip, just like like
What
that
the
little like.
sour from The Witcher.
Yeah. Be polite. We'll be small, like a very small amount, but probably not not like a full.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta get this mud off our face, for the love of God.
Oh yes.
We all
No,
look hideous still.
prestidigitation spray.
Take out your prestidigitation spray bottle and start misting it across
Start
yourself
Febrezing the
and-
hell out of. Just help Pike out.
as it melts away from the Febreze spray. You watch as the stone speaker standing in front of you pulls out this large encrusted what looks to be gold like ceremonial bowl, and she says some words over the top of it as the bowl disappears and drops onto the ground and disappears into the soil as a large wooden table grows out of the ground that is just one of these huge long feasting tables, and across it there is all matter of delicious meats and steamed vegetables and like flagons of ale and wine, and all giant sized.
A bit in awe of that suddenly
neat-
happening. That's
yeah.
new.
A neat trick to this.
And she says, "Please help yourself."
Is the
Just
table
looking
like
up
giant size
slightly at the
also?
Yeah, everything is giant sized.
Like standing at the table like way below the edge, probably is like up to my
Yeah.
nose or something. Like,
Like a
we
kid
made
at
it
the
a kid
big- at the
table. We
adults'
made it a
table,
kiddie
yeah.
table.
I
But,
pull myself up onto a chair by jumping and then
banished
pulling
to the
up and then
kiddie
kicking
table.
my little turtle legs and sort of like positioning the chest of my shell to sort of like rock so that enough weight moves forward so that it kind of like slides me onto the chair.
see,
Just
Yeah.
a bowl of gravy. I don't know how this happened. This is the greatest fantasy that I need this soup.
Just watching Fike and Tharn just chuckling to herself a bit.
Some of the giants notice your shovels and help you up to the table, almost like setting you onto the table, allowing you access to all the foods and everything. As you guys begin to make revels and enjoy the night, as many of the tribe is fast at work dealing with all the bullet carcasses, harvesting a lot of its hide that will later be turned into armors and weapons for them. The meat being thrown on, so much of it being thrown out on spits to be cooked for the evening. A lot of it you can see is being thrown onto salt racks and being dried out and turned into jerkies, and the claws and teeth being fashioned into different weapons. A lot of the teeth are being whittled down to make arrowheads for the giants' bows. These bows that are like half of their size, and these like arrows that they're crafting look to be like, for you, something that should be fired out of a ballista. But for them to be an arrowhead, just doing what they do, which is not wasting a single part of the creature, making sure that every single part gets made to use. And you're going to say something, Lauren?
By the way, for the party at this point, if you hadn't noticed before, the like large, just awkward shaped, almost like chunk of metal that Tharn carries as a shield, you can now see as you're looking around, seeing all of this, it is just a section of bullet hide.
Huh.
That just has like straps connected to the back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like it's unworked. It's pretty much just like one
hide piece.
like one
sort of look for.
shingle in the back of it that's just kind of comes to like rounded points at the end.
Observe that for a bit. I'm gonna put some awkwardly try to get a little bit of wine in her tankard, and then just kind of look over at Tharn. Thank thee for the help, Master Tharn. It was very educational.
Of course, it is my calling to aid those in the name of the Wild Mother. You are a follower, and from what I've seen, a good one. And it was my pleasure to assist you in such a daunting task.
Given all that, she said you would be most effective of a teacher, and she was not wrong.
Well, I have long caught the Wild Mother's eye in doing good works for her for many a year. And the fact that she would say something like that to you about me.
Just watching this being like both a bit like surprised and also like, oh shit, she called him a crotchety asshole. I'm not gonna don't think about it, don't think about it.
Just goes to show that I have been upon the right path and must continue to be exactly as I've been and do exactly as I do. Because it pleases her.
More awkward. She said perhaps we could learn from each other, I suppose.
I'm sure we can. I'm nowhere near as. I am far less skilled with a sword than you are. There are many things we can learn from each other. I can teach you everything, and you can perhaps show me how to stab things.
Potatoes!
Looking slightly up and just doing that, oh, is this what I have to deal with? Dear Wild Mother, it's me.
What have I done?
Are you there, Wild Mother?
Are you there, Wild Mother? It's me.
Why have you done this?
How have I offended the Wild Mother?
Yeah, right.
That you should...
This is going to be more difficult than I believe you think it.
Do you guys you enjoy of the feast?
No.
Yep.
I'm jacuzzing in a bowl of gravy. Yes. Enjoying the feast.
Are the Giants? Is Spike just jacuzziing in a bowl of gravy, and the Giants are still just ladling gravy out of there? With
Yes,
it?
absolutely. As the level slowly starts to sink for you, Fike, as you're in there, as they're sopping up gravy with biscuits and ladling it out onto their wet meat.
Leave me alone! I want to take a bath.
They're enjoying Spike spiced gravy.
As you partake of this,
Don't give them taste for human flesh or for half-elf flesh, Mike.
As you partake of this hero's feast, you each gain your max hit points go up by 17.
Woo!
For the next 24 hours.
Hot
You are
damn.
immune to the frightened condition and immune to poison. And you have advantage on wisdom saving throws for the next 24 hours.
Nice.
At a certain point later in the night, once you see that most of the work has been finished, where they've finished kind of like breaking down the carcasses, they've kind of stored a lot of the like they're starting to boil the bones that still have like stuff like flesh, what little flesh that's left clinging to it, so they can clean them off and make use of them later. And much of the Goliaths and giants are settling into the night, getting deep into their cups. You watch, I'd say Fike probably doesn't notice this because he's still gravy swimming. But Shango and Seiyao, the two of you, as we'll say Biero and Nox, tired from the day's events, retire early. And do not partake of the hero's feast because they're not here. But Shango and Seiyao, you guys notice as several Goliaths and giants start finding these large rocks, and in the middle of the camp, next to the campfire, they form them into a pretty decent sized circular shape, as there seems to be a crowd gathering around the circle.
Huh.
I'll go over and check it out.
As you get over there, you can see there are two Goliaths in the center that are with their fists and other parts of their bodies just beating the ever-living shit out of each other as what appears to be a straight-up fist fight ring, like Fight Club has broken out. As everyone's deep into their cups, there's plenty of drinks. With every successful connection of a fist to a jaw, a roar goes up. You can see that there are several giants and Goliaths passing coin back and forth as they're betting on some of the fights.
Wait,
Yeah.
with each connection, do they take a drink?
There is a small section off to one side that appeared to have turned it into a bit of a drinking game. As whenever someone gets knocked to the ground, whether they get back up or not, there's a large swig of drink that needs to be taken. You can see there are not just fists being thrown, but like what looks almost like Greco-Roman style wrestling moves being implemented as well. There's giants being like suplexed over each other's backs. There's Goliaths that are Goliaths tend to square off with other Goliaths and giants with other giants. As you watch the first match finish as this large female Goliath with these big black dreadlocks that are tied back behind her bed connects with this huge uppercut on another completely bald male Goliath that has these tattoos all over his chest. And he literally almost like an anime just like gets launched into the ground and lands on his back. And doesn't get up for a while until somebody walks over with some of that like ayahuasca ET and like splashes it onto his face, and he gets up and his left eye is like swollen shut and he has this big split lip, but he smiles this big toothy smile, but one of the teeth in the front is missing.
Blinded by the grain alcohol.
And he just grabs one, chugs down some more of that tea. Or more of that
and they immediately throw him out of the tribe because now he is less able to eat food, which means he is a burden to everyone.
Or the Stone Shaper can cast Regenerate on them. Speaking of which, the Stone Shaper at a certain point comes over to you, Shango, and says, "I've been trying to think of ways to thank each of you for the help that you've given us." And she reaches out with her pinky finger and kind of like knocks back the hood of your cloak, revealing your scars from the burns, and says, "Here." And she touches your side of your face, mutters a couple of words, and you feel this warm sensation come over you. As she casts Regenerate into you, and you watch as Tharn, you watch as the scars on Shango's face begin to melt away. The scars that he's had for as long as you've known him disappear, and he is all your burn scars that you suffered, Shango, are gone.
My thanks to you, Stone Shaper. Necessary this was not. Glad we are to help.
I'm sorry. My people believe that when a great kindness is done for us, one should be done in return to keep the balance.
Good belief that is. I hope to carry it forward.
She kind of nods her head and turns to watch as another pair of, this time stone giants, step into the ring and start beating the shit out of each other.
Please do say, is this bout a fists only bout?
It is a contest of strength, yes.
Strength only in physical form?
Well, yes.
I turn over to Seo. Seo, certainly you should get in on this bout.
Fuck it, I'll do it.
You hear a "Ah!" as what looks like one of the stone giants takes the other and pins him to the ground and gets him in like an arm bar as the one taps out to the other one as they get up, and a pair of flagons are handed to each of them as they drink deeply and walk off. The stone shaper turns to you, Sao, and says, "You wish to test your might?"
Test your might.
Why not? Sure. Let's see.
What you got.
KO combat!
Not much of a fighter I am myself, but so I'm sure you can take these on.
You watch as the stone shaper shouts out in giant, so none of you really understand. But as she does, this very large male Goliath with these leather wraps that go all the way up his forearm steps into the firelight of the ring as he is finishing off a flagon of whatever alcohol, and he tosses it off to the side and starts stretching his arms and like cracking all of his knuckles and stuff. If you wish, that is one of our older champions.
Is there helium ready?
And of
Certainly.
course.
All right, I'll do it.
All right.
I'll quickly use the message bracelet and send out a message to everybody. This is about to be good.
She
I start rocking in my bowl.
No spilling.
she looks down at you, Sao, and says, "No weapons, no armor."
Okay.
He needs like quick doff armor.
As you step, do you step into the ring?
Yeah.
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 Right. You step into
I
the
played
ring.
enough Skyrim to know how this goes.
Oh, I'll use some thaumaturgy to make some tremors in the ring, like make it shake. Get some
With each one
dramatic
of his
noise.
footsteps. Yeah.
Yeah. If I can time it with each footstep, that it's like makes him seem 10 times as heavy as he is. Can you change the color of someone else's eyes with thaumaturgy, or just your own?
I
think
believe it's just
right?
your own.
Oh, shucks.
So you take off your breastplate, Sao, and take your weapons and set them on the ground as you step into the ring. Yes?
Yeah, I was just trying to calculate my AC now.
This should just be 10 plus your dex mod.
Nope. Is he a barbarian or a monk?
No, he's a fighter.
Fighter.
Yeah, we're fighters.
It's
Yeah, it's 10 plus
8
dex.
plus proficiency plus dex.
No, that would be for spell
No,
saves.
That would be
his
under-
AC is 10 plus dexterity if you're not wearing armor,
Mhm.
and you're not a barbarian or a monk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a whopping 13.
All right. So as you step in to the ring, the Goliath looks across to you, and do the rest of you gather around the ring?
Can we see
Yeah.
from up higher? Do we need to like? Is it across the way? Or, like,
Well, there's a
we'll be
bunch of
able to-
stone giants also standing in a circle
Okay.
around this thing. So
Eventually.
I'm on the high table wearing a cup as a cape.
Just looking at Fike for a moment. Oh,
And there's-
the
Who
eyes.
am I?
There's-
Who am I? I know this stuff.
She's gonna sigh to herself, refill her drink, and like maybe pull Fike over just so he doesn't hurt himself while they're all distracted by Sam. Keep an eye on him.
Wild mother. Oh!
Drunk on gravy.
What have I gotten myself into?
all right, I need you to roll initiative. As the Goliath looks at you and says something in giant that you don't understand, Sao. Tharn, you hear him if you're standing there watching.
Hmm?
Are you at the ring watching?
No.
No? All right, so then you have no idea what he said. It's cocked. Well, you go first because I rolled a natural one on my initiative, so.
Hey,
So is this like blow for blow or?
I mean, it's up to you what you want to do.
fisticuffs.
I don't. We're just theater of the mind here. You're in like a ring that's like 40 feet across. The little circular stones where everyone's standing outside of it, kind of. But you're about 30 feet away from each other, or 25 feet away from each other, and you're up first.
Okay, I'm gonna move my 30 feet to run near him. Try to get as close to as possibly be underneath him, and use the speed bags. That's probably the only way I'm gonna win.
All right, make you have 3 attacks.
Do you have Tavern Brawlers, AO?
He does not.
Hmm.
Aw.
Did it go through?
Yep, came through 4 of them actually.
4 of them actually, and you don't have
Okay,
advantage. So the 12 doesn't hit, the 21 does hit, the 14 misses, just barely, and the 19 hits. So 2 of them hit. So it's 1 plus your strength modifier. So how much damage did they do?
What's the 4th attack from?
I think he just hit the button too many times. So 5 points of damage.
For 1 hit, yeah.
All right, so 10 points of damage for both strikes. So what do you do?
Only one of them hit, right?
2 of them hit.
But
my
that was the
bad.
4th one.
Does he have...
Oh, yeah, sorry, only one of them hit. My bad. So you run up and
Take a slide and go underneath and try to do 2 swings.
All right, so you run up and he goes to reach and grapple you, but you baseball slide between his legs and catch him once as unfortunately you misgauge as he kind of buckles over as you come through the other side of his legs and stand up, turn around and get your hands up to face him. As he kind of howls in pain for a second, wheels around, comes up to you, and is going to start swinging at you with his 3 strikes.
Nice knowing you guys. I feel it should be a disadvantage though.
They should be at disadvantage. I don't know about that.
He's a small
It's
target.
21 to hit for the first one. Jeez, I'm rolling well. Making up for last session. 24 to hit on the second.
You're basically done.
8 on the third one. So the third one misses.
2 hits.
For the first one, he connects on the strike, and you suffer 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh.
As the Goliath Brawler hits you. 18.
Right.
You're fine. On the second one, he does another 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
Cool.
And I need to make a strength saving throw. 16. Yeah, so he comes up and clocks you across the jaw for the first strike, and on the second strike, as you wheel around, he grabs you from behind and squeezes real hard, which kind of like cracks your back a little bit, but he goes to lift you up and like suplex you over the top of his head, but you kind of lock your ankle in around his leg, and he's unable to yank you up over, so let's go. As it's your turn.
You're like, oh, thanks. I've always had a back problem right there.
Goliath chiropractor.
Perfect.
I guess screw it. I'm gonna try and dust myself off, get back up, and do it again to try to throw him off balance.
Well, watching,
We're
I'm
gonna
gonna
fight.
use.
I'm gonna
use.
22 hits, 16 hits, and a 17 hits.
Nice.
So you get up 3 quick strikes. It's a 2-piece and a biscuit. As you do 15 points of damage.
And since I know I probably got to finish this quick, I'm gonna action search.
Okay.
Hey.
Glory to the Stormlord.
Hey.
Oh!
Bam! It worked! It worked!
All three hit.
Oh, wow.
The 15 just barely hits. As you just unleash a flurry, you're like Muhammad Ali, just as each one strikes.
Just doing like
The
a
natural
cheers to
20
say.
does. Yeah, the natural 20 actually does. Or is that a? It was a 19. Yeah, so that one actually does 6 points of damage because it doubles the one that you would normally do for an unarmed strike. So
Hey.
that's 16 points of damage.
And yeah, I guess I'll stay there because there's no point in moving because he'd probably reach me either way.
Yeah.
Alrighty. The Goliath kind of is thrown off balance by this and is a little bit shocked at the speed and ferocity of your blows as he like recenters himself, comes in and he's gonna throw some strikes at you. That is a 14,
Yeah,
an
by
8, a 14, an 8, and an 8. So one of them connects for 6 points of bludgeoning damage. As he cracks you across the jaw and spins you around, he's going to try and go for that same suplex maneuver. So I need you to roll another strength save.
All right.
You can also turn off your advantage because I don't know why you keep rolling with advantage. 20. Yeah, he is unable to grab you again as he goes for that same suplex maneuver as you are ready for it this time. As he's starting to look a little bit frustrated. And it's your turn.
Right. Since it seems to be working, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Alrighty.
Keep on keeping on.
10 misses. 24 hits. 21 hits. So that's another 10 points of damage. You go to swing a kick for his right leg, but he's able to lift his leg up out of the way. But as he does, you wheel around with a back fist to his jaw and a big, like, Ryu spinning, jumping uppercut into his jaw as he gets knocked back on his heels for a bit and kind of grabs his jaw and has to, like,
Do it, Sayo. Say Shoryuken. Say Shoryuken.
As he kind of has to, like, reset his jaw. He's starting to look a little wobbly. And he comes in for his own round of strikes. That is a 14,
Yup.
a 20,
Yup.
and a 15.
Yup.
So you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage on the first one. And I need you to make another con save.
That suplex.
No, this is a different one. Different ability.
What's
You
your
should punch him in the face.
Trying
What's
to
your
catch
dex?
up on the damage. My dex is +3.
Oh, +3.
So his AC is 13.
I was curious about the initiative.
Well, I rolled a natural 1 on the initiative.
Oh no,
My
I meant
initiative.
like his initiative's +5.
I believe as an athlete.
Oh, neat.
It's a
Remarkable
He
athlete.
gets, he gets to add half of his proficiency to
That's
his.
awesome.
Remarkable athlete.
There's a few
See,
more
people
better
sleep on the
things
champion fighter. It's not a lot of complicated rules to it, but it's
Yeah,
an
it's good.
extremely.
It's good, yeah.
I need a con save, Sao.
Later. Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. Trust me.
You should punch him in the face. That's where all the brain smarts are, in the face.
Spike just drunk on sauce.
On gravy.
12 is
Oh,
not
gravy, yeah.
He swings down as you're landing, and you're kind of in a bent stance. He punches you hard, like right in your thigh, and uses his bruise ability. And your speed is reduced by 5 feet.
Ouch.
Second
Did
strike,
he just give me a Charlie horse?
pretty much, yeah. Second one is another 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ouch.
Make another con save. and then 6 points of bludgeoning damage. Make a strength save. So he connects again, but doesn't give you that same Charlie horse to reduce your speed. But then spins you around, tries to go over that suplex again, but you are just able to wriggle free. He's not been able to get that suplex move that he keeps trying to take this fight to the ground, and it's not working. As it comes back to your turn.
Okay, what was the total damage?
It was 4, 4, and 6, so 14.
All right, let me mark that down. All right, I'm gonna hit him twice.
Hits.
Bonus action, second win.
All right, well, you still have 3 strikes because you're the level fighter you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have 3 regular attacks, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, let me get one more.
Punch him in the face.
That one misses. So the first 2, you catch him left, right hook in the jaw as he kind of staggers back a bit, and try to get a little bit fancier. You wheel around with like a kick, but he's able to deflect that to the side. You get the sense he's not used to fighting someone as smaller and that much more nimble. He's more used to fighting other people that are big and strong, that are just like bruisers like he is. But you're bringing a lot more athletic ability to this fight than he was expecting, as he restudies himself and comes in to try and do some damage to you. It's a natural 1.
Oh, does he hit himself?
No, that's 14.
Yeah.
14 and a 22. You take 6 points of bludgeoning damage
All right.
and 7 points of bludgeoning damage, so 13 total. And I need you to make another con save and strength save. No, con save and strength save.
That was
Yes.
yeah, strength save and a con save.
No, con save first, and then a strength, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Constitution. So he goes to give you that same Charlie horse, and he connects, but it doesn't hit in the right spot to reduce your speed. However, he finally gets his arms around you for that suplex as he lifts you up over his head and brings you down onto your neck and shoulders behind you as the entire crowd goes, "Oh!" You suffer an
Am I
additional. You suffer an additional 10 points of bludgeoning damage and are prone as he wheels around and gets up, getting ready for another round of attacks.
He re-adds your back pain to you.
Yeah.
Take it
Gives you
away.
back that back pain that he had
The
taken away.
Goliath giveth and the Goliath taketh away.
I want to try to add another thaumaturgy tremor with the suplex to make it more dramatic. Whoa.
Your turn there, Sao.
Jeez, and no one tries to help me out like everybody helped out Grog.
You're on your back, prone, a little stunned, but it's your turn.
All right, I'm gonna use my movement to get up and try to get back up, dust myself off, do it again.
All right, so your speed is reduced to 25. So you use half of that, rounded down to get up, so you only have 15 feet of movement left.
Yeah. But I'm right next to him, aren't I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, I'll just 3 strikes again.
The first 2 hit. The third one doesn't. But how'd you like to do this, Sao?
Woohoo!
So you get up, kind of like wipe a little bit of blood from your lip, and
I'm gonna try and grab onto his clothes and pull myself up and try and punch him with 2 of my punches from the left and the right to try and knock him out.
All right. So you get up and you give him a big left, which spins him 360 degrees around, but he's still standing there. So you crack him with the right, and this time as he spins around like a tree in the forest, he slowly starts to wobble, lean too far to one side, and then as he hits the ground, the grass had been kind of beaten away from all the fighting and wrestling that had already been going on, and a big cloud of dust pops up around, which kind of obscures you. And as the dust settles down, you guys can see Seau there standing over the unconscious Goliath as one of his buddies steps in and kind of like slaps him awake and hands another flagon into his hand. As the Goliath that you were facing, Seau, stands up, kind of walks over you carrying 2 mugs and puts one out towards you.
I will take it.
And he roughly cheers with his mug. A bunch of the liquid splashes out, and he pounds it back. Do you pound back yours?
Yup.
Yeah. It's not the
Smile
same.
at him.
Yeah, you smile at him as you both finish drinking. It's not that same. Seems to be a honeyed mead that they probably make themselves. As he reaches down and grabs your wrist and holds your hand up and lets out a little roar and points to you as the rest of the crowd of Goliaths all and giants give a roar of appreciation.
Well done, Seau.
What's up? That was awesome. Although my back hurts.
Oh, did he win? What happened? That was fun.
He most certainly won. Just steadying Fike with one hand.
Woo! That's
Careful.
my buddy. Oh, big chair. Uh-oh.
Grabs before he falls.
Two more this line.
Yeah, 2 more Goliaths hop into the ring and start throwing fists at one another.
You're cutting in and out, Fike. I'm sorry. Like a lot.
Surprised the Wi-Fi at that hotel isn't better.
I mean, it's not good.
We do.
You walk over to your rest of your compatriots who are standing just outside the ring, Seau.
Well done, Seau. Well done.
Thank you. I need ice.
That can most certainly be procured, I believe. Looking back to the giant table.
I got you.
Fike, any ice on the table?
Yes, I know exactly where it is. Let's go get it.
Like scurries back up. Make a athletics check to climb back up the table with
This may only
disadvantage.
end
'cause
in
you're very, very strong.
tragedy.
Oh, Fike came down. I thought he was still up on the table.
Ayahuasca.
I don't know. It depends on what you were partaking in.
Can I catch him?
Make
Katanas, let this happen. What do I gotta make?
No, you don't have to make a check. Make a athletics check, Cortanus, to try and catch him.
Uh-huh.
You catch him, but he ends up more landing on you than you catching him. So you brace his fall, but you take the brunt of it and suffer 1 point of bludgeoning damage from Fike landing on top of you.
You are heavier than I expected.
I'm sorry, Ren. I've had much to drink here.
I have noticed.
I'm sorry. I pat her on the head and I go, all right, this time I'm not going to get the ice. I disengage. I go on the table.
You try to climb back up the table? Make another athletics check.
Can I assist him?
Sure, you can assist him, which will take away his disadvantage.
Oh,
God.
All the checks.
All the checks. I'm sorry.
3. So you
Should have been 12 with advantage.
Well, you didn't have advantage. Her help negated your disadvantage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then 3.
As it's if Benny Hill existed in this world, his music would most certainly be playing as Fike is kind of standing and not doing a successful job. Is falling. His butt keeps ending up in Cortanis' face as she's trying to
Just
assist
gonna
him and
eventually
push
pull
him
him back down, hand her tankard over to Seo in just a moment, and she's gonna go up and get it.
All right, you climb up without too much of an issue at all. You hop up, you take out your Cortanas, and there's a huge block of ice, and you just
Might not do
shave
that.
a bunch of it off.
Like,
Shave
not
a bunch
gonna
of it
use like
off.
the wild mother's to like, cut ice.
That's
The other
good.
one. Use the one for the Raven Queen. It's
The
she's
cold
Winter
damage.
Lady. It's good. Heal
Make
the ice
extra
block.
All right, bring him back some ice in like a.
I
don't
know that it's
some
called yakety sax.
in
I
a
was
like
just-
a handkerchief type thing to. Hey, you want Seo?
Thank you.
That's
I'm just gonna
Well done.
cure his wounds. I just want to go back to my bowl.
I believe you hath had enough gravy for one night, Fike. That is not a phrase I ever thought I would say.
We should name this.
Right.
From now on, when you get too drunk, we call it getting sauced.
getting sauced.
I like
pulls
it.
out
I'm gonna use
the
it
pulls
from
out the
now on.
notebook,
Why-
writes that down.
Why not drunk? A word already exists for this.
It'll be like a secret code. Like we're spies.
But you just spoke out the secret.
This is
Only us
Spike we
know.
are talking about.
Ah.
I am the divine deceiver. Spies.
Pat pat.
Retired, I believe he has.
Oh fuck.
Maybe
Why is
retirement.
everybody- Why is everybody looking at me? I feel like it's really. Am I very pretty right now? What's going on?
Prestidigitation spray.
I feel like I'm clean now. She's just spritzing me like a cat.
Is
Cortanis
it wrong?
Cortanis is the dad from my big fat Greek wedding with Windex.
Put some Windex on it.
It's everything. Ah. The ammonia stings my eyes.
Oh. This has certainly been a feast of sorts.
Indeed.
The night continues on. Is there any specific things you guys would like to do throughout the evening?
Just gonna
One point.
probably like sit around like one of the fires and just kind of watch, like people watch for a bit and get a sense of things because Fike is completely sauced. Not gonna talk to him.
If there's still giants dancing around the campfire, I'll join in on that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely giants still
Yeah.
dancing around the campfire.
Yeah.
If you'd like to join in.
Yeah, as best as I can, and every now and then I'll change the color of the flames with thaumaturgy to make them like yellow and then blue and then green and then back to red.
You get some oohs and ah. Take a
grave
performance
show.
check. See how quick you pick up the dance steps.
Ooh, ooh.
Occasionally check on Fluffy.
Love that they have a level 17 druid and they're like, ooh,
Oh!
sorcerer cantrips. Somebody's in the fire. Somebody who is back to burnt.
Getting a new burn scar.
You do trip over a errant pebble and almost fall in the fire if one of the Goliaths hadn't grabbed you and pulled you back. But you kind of torque your ankle a little bit, and you know, kind of like when you coming down the stairs too fast and you kind of land on the side and instead of flat on your foot, and it, you know, tweaks your ankle a little bit. But nothing too bad. But you feel it might be best to go get out of the dance circle.
Yeah, I'll nod my thanks to the giant that caught me and like kind of hobble away, but like, I'm good.
He appreciates the effort and kind of gives you like a,
Everybody freeze for a second? I guess Mark's frozen. Or he's
is
just
Mark
very-
froze?
Or he's just
Or is
very
he
still.
just
Oh no,
standing
you're
very
just
still? Oh, no,
super
he's just
still.
Super still.
Shit.
Unless there's other things you'd like to do, the night begins to wind down. Several giants and Goliaths just kind of like pass out and fall asleep wherever they were when they fell over. There's several loud snoring Goliaths and giants just laying open under the out open under the sky, snoring with like mugs still clutched in their hands with liquid still kind of like dribbling out of them onto the grass as the night begins to die down.
Yeah, eventually
Moment
gonna
where-
try to find her. Try to find their, I guess, tent or whatever they were allowed to stay at, and crash a little
There's a
bit
quiet
earlier.
moment. Fike wants to pull Shango aside for a second.
Okay.
Oh
Father.
boy. No, I'm not your
Yes,
father.
father.
No, I'm not. I'm a father. I'm not your father. I'm sorry. I'm drunk.
Yes.
Let me.
Fike.
Sorry. Okay. Hey, you're not. I like you better this way. You look very handsome.
My thanks.
I have a question for you, and like I'll start like. I go to grab his hand, but I don't make connection, and I just grab something on him, and I just pulling him like farther away. I go, are you? You remember in Whitestone that we had a talk, and then you were really
We
scared.
talked many a times in Whitestone.
No, I'm referencing a specific time. On me
More
perform.
precise, you could be.
I'm
Ah,
trying to. You saw
Yes.
me performing, and then you confessed some things to me.
indeed.
You ever gonna act on those things, or is that just gonna sit in my head forever?
Something to act on. I have to.
Well, I mean, yeah, a little bit. Like we could be dead like anytime, and you don't want to
Lifting that certainly is.
Just it's gonna get really bolstery. Just give me a minute. I'm a fucking performer.
Okay.
You could die like any time, and that's not good. Like, if you have something to say to someone, you should say it.
Yes, certainly. I believe. Usually, I do.
But you're not. You haven't done anything with it yet. Not know what I'm talking about. Do I need to say it out loud? Like, very plain, common for you?
Perhaps.
You did not tell Ren how you feel. Me how you feel. But I'm just trying to be stable.
and under the impression I was that clear that was to her.
Right.
Do you think it is not?
You guys? No, I just think you show like don't show affection the way I show affection. So I just wanted to make sure that you said everything you wanted to say, and if God forbid something happens to either one of you, you don't have any regrets, man, because that's a sad thing. And you are a good person, and you don't deserve to ever be sad.
Thank you. You're sorry, I'm blanking on the word. Your thoughts are much appreciated. I didn't hear what you just said. Wait, did I?
Oh yeah, you've gone.
I think you're muted
or something like that. But
am I muted?
Okay,
Am
now
I
you're
Oh,
back.
there he's back.
We couldn't
Okay.
hear you for a while.
I was like, I'm not sure if it's me or someone else.
Oh, it's just hotel internet.
Yep.
Uh, truth. Wine, and then that is not wine.
There's...
Weird truth and then nothing.
Truth exists within wine.
Mm.
It does. Well, why puzzled I am now, but the message you're trying to say. I mean, so wine is to be presented to show truth. Is that one of your customs?
Again, I think you're mute. Oh, there you go.
Internet. I should just shut up for the whole session.
No.
No, it's just you gotta like. About you very much. I love you like a brother. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Hey,
Sorry, I only caught half of that.
love you. You're a good person.
Thank you. I love you too, Father. I'm
Now,
glad we have all found each other, and
me too, right?
I will.
But you don't want to. If someone doesn't know that, you don't want them to not know that.
Indeed. Certainly true that is.
You and me are on the same book, same page, same chapter.
Certainly.
I'm gonna go sleep in the woods.
Would you not prefer to sleep in one of the tents? I believe more comfortable that is.
Nope, I prefer to share someone's bed, and since I can't, I will share the woods with the creatures,
So
the
Tharn.
foxes, and the grizzly bears. I'm gonna go find a rock.
Oh, okay.
Make it
I'll
like
try
6
to,
feet, and then just collapse. I don't
reach
even care if I'm
after him,
outside
try
the
to guide
camp. I just
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll reach behind him, try to guide him towards it's over. So like, okay.
He collapses in kind of the armpit area of one of the stone giants.
I'll tuck the arm a little bit in. Like I'll tuck him in with the arm of the Jones' stone giant.
Make a strength check.
Oh boy. That's gonna go great. Yay! About as expected.
No, he doesn't.
It's a heavy
okay.
arm.
Just
He'll be fine.
pat him. Yeah, I'll just pat him.
Yeah, he's gonna pat his head and.
not until that thing rolls over, then I'll be fucking dead. And Fike, make a con save. Why? You're suffocating.
Oops. Do we all share tent, or like
You
various
did
people?
the previous night, yeah.
The huge ass like giant tent.
The
Yeah.
giant tent? Yeah.
You could fit your guys' tents that you carry with you inside of one of their tents.
Can we build our tent in a tent? Alright. So yeah, so after petting Fike on the head and be like, I think he's fine. I'll also head back to retire. And I don't know if Kotanas is still up.
Probably looks like,
Looks like
She's
she's her
resting.
typical.
but
Yeah.
probably like isn't actually. It's just kind of like
So
resting her eyes and
yeah. Walking in, seeing that, and knowing how she usually sleeps, I'll just go lay down myself.
Tharn, do you find one of your typical spots outside?
Yes.
I figured as much. Tharn, while you are sleeping, you have a dream. You see a large, older green bird that is sitting on a nest. you watch as, almost in a fast-forward montage passage, a couple seasons and days and nights pass as the bird stands up and one of the eggs that it was sitting on cracks, and out comes this deepish reddish orange bird that starts to grow again as the passing of time kind of speeds up. Eventually, the orange bird jumps out of the nest a couple times, and the green bird has to fly down and catch it as it isn't able to get the air under its wings and fly off, and brings it back to the nest, and it tries a couple more times, and the green bird has to fly down and catch it a couple more times until eventually the little red bird jumps out of the nest and is finally able to catch the wind, and the green bird hops out and they begin to fly together towards a sunset horizon until, after they've traveled what appears to be a fairly great distance, the two birds split off to go their separate ways. As you wake up to the rising sun in the east.
Okay.
Everyone gets a good night's sleep,
Yay.
and you wake up, some of you a lot more hungover than others.
Yeah, I'm gonna be up earlier as usual. Just kind of probably outside a little bit, practicing as usual.
Yeah, I'd say Seau and Fike sleep in a little bit. Kurtanis, you probably come out to find Tharn sitting doing his morning prayers in the morning. You look off to the right and see a snoring Fike who's curled up into the armpit of this stone giant. And
They're snuggling me by now.
yeah.
Just kind of watches Fike for a second thoughtfully, and then just looks over to Tharn and walks over. Good morrow, Master Tharn.
Yes. Morning.
Did thou sleep with well?
Yes. Hunkered down, rested. Been up for about an hour and a half, 2 hours now.
Just feeling
And
a bit
you?
like Yes. Well, I'm fine. Simply thinking about various things. But I suppose I should be praying, should I not? I have not attempted, and well, I doth not know if I ever have. Well, somewhat. Might I join you?
Yes, no. Of course. Prayer to the Wild Mother is always a time. There's always time well spent.
I'll just go over the other side and kind of sit down and set both hilts of the swords across her lap and just kind of try to get into a space. Not very good at it, but
Did you guys want me to pray?
No, you don't have
no.
to.
Yeah, it's just a thing.
Powerful Wild Mother.
Do it.
Art in the
Amongst all
divine
of the
game.
other
Do it.
deities, many of whom are good, but you, of course, are the best.
Oh my God, who is the best god of all the gods?
Of all of
Alright.
the omnipotent, powerful deities, you are the most omnipotentest and powerfulest.
Ren's just like, awkward, sister.
Out.
Eventually, the rest of you come to consciousness in the morning. Nox and Biero are up and enjoying some breakfast as you all kind of find yourselves to each other to kind of figure out what it is you would like to do today.
Is the stone shaper up?
She is. As you kind of look over, she is in the midst of overseeing the breaking down of the camp.
Oh, they're already breaking down. Okay.
Oh yes.
It appears the hunt has been ready, and the giants are to return home. Shall we report the moving of the bullets and the giants to the fort or the camp?
Yeah, slightly distracted for a moment, but gives a nod at that. Yes. I suppose that should tie up our loose ends here. That is the correct term, correct?
Indeed. Satisfied you are, Tharn, with the resolution of this?
Well, yes. Clearly, we were given even more time, but if the Giants feel that they have achieved everything that they need, then yes, I suppose it was a successful venture, and we all did very, very well in achieving it. If the
Indeed.
next step is to move on to the fort, as far as I'm concerned, they can continue to sit on their wooden spikes for the next 2 weeks, as is their orders. But if you think there's value in going to speak with them and letting them know, then
I do believe so. A show of good faith, so do well. If the resolution has come to an end in an earlier time, you can show them that they can resume their trades earlier than expected. Would you not think that would put you in their good favor?
no.
Uh,
Also, I
But-
don't care if I'm in their good favor. But I doubt it would have any impact on them. These intruding knuckleheads are hard-headed, dedicated to only what it is they want, and not caring a mite for what it should be.
Right. Not sure I am what I was expecting of this question. Yet I believe it good favor it puts the stone giants, so try. I think it is worthwhile. Yes, Father?
They will be happy because they could send their shipment earlier. We're supposed to send a shipment. Hammer. Now they could send that shipment earlier.
Yes.
It's good. I'm sorry. I drank way too much last night. My apologies.
Are you in need of something?
Oh,
Any
I
aid
have
you can provide?
restoration.
I have water. I have lesser restoration.
Sure. He just keeps passing
I'm
off
good.
water.
Technically speaking, you're also a paladin of sufficient level that you're immune to to disease, but not poison, right? So never mind.
It's not poison.
Can one of you get rid of this bruise?
Hmm?
Can one of you get rid of this bruise on my leg?
I wouldn't. Will we need
With
letter regulation for that?
with the long rest, your movement speed reduction is gone. Sao.
Oh no, I was just talking about how there'd probably be a big ass.
Yeah.
There's definitely a huge ass like
It's all blue.
melon-sized, like purple, and starting to get that like yellowish color to it. Bruise on your thigh.
It
Beyond
will
my
only heal with
personal-
time, Master Seor.
Beyond my personal abilities, I believe this is, as
I
Thon
can
was
do
saying.
it. I got it.
Ren's gonna think for a moment
5
and
hit
kind of
points.
look over to Tharn, like, I still believe it would be better to keep good. What is the word here? Good relations with those at the fort. If they aren't living in this area for a decent amount of time, they would make good allies for
If
keeping
not
things
going with
safe.
us,
If
if not going with us, you wish to do, you are certainly welcome to stay here until we return from the fort.
Wasn't there talk about speaking about brokering some sort of more permanent deal between the large kin and this Daxio fellow? Wasn't that something
Indeed.
we had discussed?
Yes.
Indeed, there was.
Has anyone spoken with the large kin if they have an interest in this?
The face
Have,
of that venture, Master Thorn. Please don't
have,
yell.
have
You're
you
right.
not?
I shall go and speak with the Stone Shaper then about this.
Join.
Please do.
Runga tunga gunga bunga.
Boonga boonga.
Yeah, boogie boogies.
Giving like a pleading
Oh,
look to
Dimitri.
Biero or something. Look it up.
Did you get hit on the head, father fuck?
Oh no, that's out of
Biker.
character. I'm not being.
Yeah.
The Stone Shaper is not that far away. You can see her off to the side, kind of like directing people, like, no, that goes in that, container, and da da da. No, I told you to take down tents. Why are you over here, doing
This
this?
has got to be sorted by color and size. Come on, guys.
Grandma, what are you doing here?
But as you
Do to break
approach,
down tents, not drink more ayahuasca.
yeah, as you approach over to the Stone Shaper, she sees that you're coming over, turns around and like kind of gets down on one knee and says, "I hope you all rested well."
Yes, fine. Something we wish to discuss with you before going. Now, the Bullet tribes, they have pulled out and they are beginning to work their way back up the mountain, yes? After the capture of their alpha and so many of their of their herd, they are moving on, yes?
Indeed.
All right, which means they've cleared out of this valley.
For the time being, they will return.
Yes, fairly regularly. Speaking of which, that is why we came to you. There has been a point raised with the cretins over at Fort Daxio as to the
Soldiers.
potential for a more long-term agreement between them and yourselves so that this bullet herding fiasco might not arise again.
What sort of agreement?
Well, they apparently move their shipments of things back and forth between the deep land of Craghammer and the large city of Iman. Apparently, the roads out here are part of that trade route, which is why they were hopping on and jabbering about whatever it was that would have interrupted your hunt. But they seemed open to an idea put forward by one of the party here that perhaps they could come to some sort of an agreement that down the line, as the herding was necessary, that in future times you might oversee the roads and protect it from things such as the bullet herd movements and other such things in an attempt to keep their trade routes open.
She gets a look on her face where she's kind of like processing this information that you're giving her, and she rubs her chin a little bit and looks back down at you and says, "And you think you could broker such an agreement?"
Only if you're interested and willing. I myself do not trust these people, but if it's at least worth, if you think that it's good for your people to potentially move forward in negotiating with them, then I leave that up to you. I leave whether or not you would want such a thing up to you. Of course, I would be happy to broker this for you. However, it is not my decision to make. It is the herds, or it is the tribes.
Yes, we simply thought that it would be a mutually beneficial arrangement going forward and not cause any further problems if it could be.
It would depend on what sort of arrangement would have to be reached, but if you do not feel that they are trustworthy, then what makes you think that they will be agreeable to this arrangement?
I find them to not be trustworthy. I never found them to be trustworthy. However, the
We
one
believe they
thing you
should
can
keep their
rely
word.
on is them acting in their own moronic, motivated self-interest.
Master
I'm
Thorn,
sure that if they get something out of it, then possibly they would be willing to give you something. Well, it works out in their favor.
Master Thorn, they aren't simply doing their jobs, as aren't the herd and doing what you need to do to survive. So
That's the difference. The herd is doing what's needed to survive. Yes, they are doing their jobs because they are not wise enough to know that when they are given a bad order as soldiers, they should not follow it.
Mr. Thorn. Have you never heard of the concept of how we used to call it, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar? 'Tis
Easier to catch more flies with manure or rotting meat. There's a number of good ways to catch flies. I've done it quite often. They're quite versatile and useful.
'tis a phrase. No, I suppose that is not used anymore. But consider people to be a type of creature that is social in nature, and sometimes extending a hand in favor, as even the tribe, the herd here, did to us when we first came in, even if it was through you. Consider that it is more useful to be kind sometimes and see others' perspectives, and in doing so they shall help you more often than they would simply drawing ire.
I find wisdom in these words. If you can broker some sort of arrangement with the soldiers from the fort that will allow us to continue our way of life, some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement, as you say, I am open to some changes. I've been around long enough to understand that, like the seasons, nothing stays the same forever, and we must learn to adapt to our changing environment. And these soldiers, though troublesome, seem to be set on being a permanent fixture in this environment. So if you find a way for us to be able to coexist without coming to conflict, I would be open to such an arrangement if it can be reached.
Perhaps they could learn from you as well. The first step towards allies can be occasionally mutually beneficial tolerance.
Of course they could learn from them. This tribe has long lived and well acted. Yes, if there can be benefits for both, then I will attempt to broker an agreement and move forward with negotiation. But if they seek only to use you, then I would make sure that they know that that is not a good idea.
We trust Skipping Stone to represent our best interests.
Then we shall do what we can to assist in this.
She looks to you, Ren, and you, being city folk, might be able to get them to understand. We are breaking down camp. We intend to set out for our winter home by midday. If you can arrange some sort of meeting with the leader of the soldiers of the fort by then, I am open to it.
All right. So to have them here by midday, yes?
Yes.
All right then. Off we shall travel.
I wish you luck. May the Wild Mother shine on your path.
I'm sure she will, and onto yours as well.
And you see she kind of gets distracted and starts in giant yelling out Tharn something that you understand. No, I told you that the bullets need to go to that cart, not to. She says, "Excuse me," as she stands up and walks over back to the director people. You actually see now that the newly domesticated bullets are being hooked up almost like sled dogs to these enormous sleds that are going to be carrying much of the stuff that they used to set up their camp. The alpha is strapped to. There's usually 4 to a sled. The alpha is strapped up to its own sled.
Way to go, Fluffy.
Yeah.
Some like cherry rig.
Wait, that means that Fluffy's
farting.
not coming with us. That's what that means.
Of course not.
No.
We got it.
We got it.
We're all
for the
gonna say
tribe.
goodbye. No, this is out of character. Oh.
I mean, we
Same voice.
gotta
Sorry, I didn't know.
do something like that also.
It's a very distinct difference between Father Fike and me being an asshole.
I don't know. Sometimes there's.
Yeah, the difference is
I don't
which one
know.
is being the asshole.
That is not incorrect.
As the rest of you are finishing up your breakfast, Tharnan, I don't know if I should call her Ren or Cortanis at this point. But
Try Ren for a bit.
I don't know if I should call her Ren or Cortanis. I didn't know why you had a different name. Oh,
Renata.
Renata. yeah, I was saying,
Renata.
Nox gave an alternate
Oh,
because she was saying she wasn't sure if
yeah.
she wanted to keep
that
Cortanis or
happen
not,
last-
since she didn't want to be named after things. She was considering not being named after things.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
you,
as far as Tharn's concerned, whatever name you want to be called, just be like, "Oh, I'm called this now," and he'll be like, "All right."
Yeah. Then she would have said
Oh,
at
I
one
am-
point she's trying out Renata Ren. Ren is
I
fine.
am Tiffany.
Bananas.
But you, regardless, Ren and Tharn, you guys arrive back to your group as they're kind of finishing up their breakfast.
We're heading off to the fort to hopefully broker an agreement between the tribe and the Daxioites. Daxiums.
Certainly.
The
Certainly.
soldiers
You wish
under
to
Daxia's command.
you wish to stay back, did you not, Tharn?
No, it's my responsibility to go and do the negotiations.
I thought no
What
I thought no
one could
desire
offer
you
the
had
other?
to
The Stone Shaper thought, of course, that Thon would be best at negotiating their interests, but we can assist.
Did you hear yourself?
Yes, but
Did you hear the words coming out of your mouth, Ren?
with us all together, we should respect their wishes if we are creating a mutually beneficial agreement for them as well.
Certainly.
On stipulation on can you try, not can you try your very best to not say something that city folk would find
Insulting?
offensive?
Simply what we spoke about before. About honey.
I can certainly try to do such a thing. Though, I'll be honest, I don't know the entire breadth and width of what city folk find offensive. I may say something like, trees are good, and then they just innately lose their
No,
minds.
that is a good sentiment. But
Perhaps
like
first,
how
the
about
word cretins could be avoided.
yes, Breton is a good one. Slack-jawed buffoon. Let's not do that one.
Insults in general.
Yes,
So
insults. And
It's only an
regarding
them-
insult
Okay.
if the word is not descriptive.
which it is not. Regarding them as inferiors, not an approach.
Yes. To
To
mutually
being
official
not
arrangement,
insulting.
you must at least give the appearance that everyone is on equal footing. Otherwise, nothing goes forward.
have an idea of what one could offer the other in this case, so we're not just going, you guys work together now.
Well,
It is a matter of seeing things from
Certainly
their
the herd would
perspective as
need-
well.
certainly the herd
Cer-
would need certain things, guarantees on access to lands that they hunt and utilize. they would need to be guaranteed of their security and safety, that these soldiers won't just decide randomly that they own everything and that anyone living upon it just deserves to be killed.
Start taking out notes and taking notes on that, making sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Maybe the tribe could.
The same goes for the soldiers. The same guarantees. The same goals both parties have at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The tribe is here to hunt. The soldiers are here to keep the trade routes free of bullets, dangers on the road.
Yes,
So,
but I find these city folk tend to think that anyone who isn't them is part of the dangerous things that need to be disposed of.
and you don't.
This would not be the first time that the people
You
of
don't
Vermont and
think
Crackhammer
alike?
have struck against giants for no reason.
You don't think alike that any one of the city folk is out to destroy everything you love?
Well, I believe almost all of the city folk are out to destroy, or at the very least ignore to their own benefit, the importance of what is out here in the world that we live in. That's why they've retreated to the city in the first place.
So the same view you have. Yet, by merely not attacking each other, both parties already benefit.
Yes. Yes, so it is hostilities that have abounded and have practically never, in my knowledge of history, almost never been the responsibility of a giant. It's always been that these other folk are the aggressors.
May that as it be, a good point this is not to bring into the negotiation.
Yes, again, beginning with mutually beneficial tolerance can lead to understanding between two peoples.
Well, of course, but it needs to be stated in any sort of agreement before moving forward that these people will not threaten the giants, nor will they.
Yes, so much we have made clear.
Yes.
So much we have already made clear.
Right. So why are we discussing it again? I don't understand. We've already addressed that point.
We have.
It is more a matter of being able to see things from their perspective and beginning with understanding your own biases, Master Thorn, to understand theirs.
I'm well aware of my biases. They're mine.
Yes.
They're very, oh, look at me! And then they're like raspberry jam, and they don't want that. They want to come home to their family. So maybe we also pitch in, like, maybe the stone giants could help with the Ettins on the road. Yep. And then we could show the soldiers that one giant is different from the other.
Yes,
learning that
one giant is different from the other.
Ettins.
They don't look the same. They don't act the same. One
They're
has
stupid.
They're
stupid.
Everyone must learn.
You need to walk them through it.
I can do that.
Everyone must. Okay. Everyone must learn.
See, Fike's getting. You just got to speak Tharn's language.
But make sure he doesn't speak it that way.
They're stupid. You got to explain it to them like children. Tharn's like,
I can totally do that. Yes. No, that won't be an issue. I would be happy to.
The safety of the road can ensure. And sorry, the safety of the road the tribe can ensure.
Positive reinforcement to the small children.
And in return, the safety of the tribe will be ensured.
Yes. And
that hardly seems fair, though. If the soldiers want their road, it's their responsibility to keep it protected from the many things that may threaten it.
Including the tribe, which you're not okay with. You literally just said so yourself.
The tribe in no way threatens the road.
You.
The
not 1 minute ago. Not 1 minute ago. Yourself said they are not in a position. The soldiers are not in a position to claim the land. But now you say the road is theirs.
I said that they feel the road is theirs. And if they feel that way, then they should be the ones to sweep it for whatever dangers might emerge.
Yet that
I hardly think
precisely
a
is
word-
precisely that is what they are thinking they are doing, or have been doing.
Yes, which is why we must explain things in a way that does not show the herd at all being hostile. It is why a kinder words and a kind hand is needed.
Yes. Once again, we have already agreed on. I don't understand why we're still talking about that.
Are you going to use nice words to these people? Yes or no?
Like you suggested, I will explain to them like they're children.
Oh, nice to children, not children that you want to run away from you, but children that could shoot you with arrows and swords after.
Please do not call them children.
No, yes.
Yes, children is not good.
Yes, think of it as a means of explaining things in a way that one would explain to an adult, or one that you're attempting to come to an understanding as adults.
Explain
I
it
have-
as you would do to one who's coming to an understanding as an adult. Yes, that's what I regularly do. I bluntly say what I mean. I do not dance around the subject. I do not hide my intentions.
A feeling I have know where we will continue in this conversation here. Shall we head on and, as they say, try our luck?
Yes. And just as I start to go, just remember what the Stone Shaper said, adapting. Sometimes you must adapt to their way of thinking, if just a little bit, to come to better understanding and begin the process of alliances. Otherwise, everyone runs or turns away from you, as they did back at the Temple of Melora.
Adaptation is part of nature, of course.
Precisely.
And I regularly do that. I address these people as we're walking.
Yes.
I've addressed these people
And we're
differently. I've addressed these people differently at the request of all of you already. I don't understand.
After
I
continuing as
simply
you
intend-
have,
Well, I shall do it differently now. I shall take the advice of Pike, and I shall speak with them as though they were children, and explain it to them in the simplest possible of terms so that there's no misunderstanding.
I still doth not believe that directly is... There's a difference between the understanding of speaking to children and actually speaking to children, and you are not speaking to children here.
Even I didn't follow that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm putting in like 5 hours of fucking sleep. Sorry. I don't know. It's very fucking awkward. Shit.
Even I, Bill, did not follow
Yeah, sorry. I didn't even follow that shit.
You're on thin ice. You're on thin ice.
Right?
Just letting you know.
Shit.
Talk to them like children, but they're not children. But they
No.
are children. Not like children, but like with children.
Yes,
for
of course.
children.
They're sort of,
Trying
but
to like
yes, but
build
no.
up from Fike, and Fike did not start that at the correct time. He doesn't know how to wind this back around.
You do not. I could go again. You do not insult children. You do not call children names. You do not belittle the children's intelligence. They could grow up and be big and strong one day and smart and make good choices. Right now, they're making not good choices, and you're going to correct that in the nicest way possible.
Most children
Thank
do
you.
not
That's
like
not
to be
how
called
you raise
children.
children. That's not how
Have
you
any
speak
children?
to children. What?
Do you have children? Do you have children?
I do not. But I have
Thank the
I have
Lord.
helped raise children. I was a child and I was raised. Is that how you were raised?
No. I wish.
Children need a firm hand. You cannot dally around with them. You must explain it to them as it is, so that they understand, learn, and grow. That's the most effective way of raising a child and explaining to them.
I think some people could be taught with a needle, and then some people need to be taught with a hammer. But when you look at every problem as a nail, all you think is the hammer. Some things just need a quick stitch.
Honey and vinegar.
Nice words, Father.
You guys have reached the edge of the river that separates the two camps.
I swim through the river.
Yep.
Magic carpet, please, Nox.
Yep. You guys make your way across the river as you did previously without too much trouble, as you've done it a couple times now, so it's not much of a problem. As you approach the outside of the fortress, you can see the guards that are. There's a little bit more activity. You get the sense that they've noticed that the giants are packing up their camp. So as you arrive, before you even get there, the gates open. As it appears you've been recognized in that same like sergeant at arms that had, that one that had a stick up his ass, that had greeted you last time. Comes
He thinks
out
he has
again.
a stick up his ass now. Wait until Thorn.
Oh God!
Please don't, please.
As he comes out to greet you and
You'll
says,
never be able to clean that
"Well,
stick.
it would appear you've had some success. The giants appear to be moving on."
Yes, we have
Indeed.
assisted them in their task and done what is needed. We are now
Excellent.
here, and I look around at the rest of the party, to politely discuss the matter spoken of prior to going to the giants about a possible mutually beneficial arrangement between yourselves and them.
He kind of
Indeed.
stops and waits for a minute, which feels like a minute. It's probably only like 5 seconds. He's like, "Oh, that's it. Okay, wonderful. Follow me." Turns
Certainly.
around almost like an abused dog expecting someone to hit him or something. He's like surprised and shocked that he just kind of, very well, follow me if you'd be so kind. And he
Of
turns
course.
around and starts
Good
walking.
boy. Well done.
Kind of tilts his head like a
And-
confused
And I
puppy.
turn to Fike and I go, better.
So far, so well. Yeah.
As he
It's
starts to
time,
lead
too.
you. Yeah, he leads you. He begins leading you through the camp again. Similar activities were happening the last time you came through here. Appear to be happening again. Soldiers in training, archers shooting against large hay targets. As you are led to that larger tent that's in the middle, the sergeant walks up and swings open the flaps for you. As you come in, you can see again, standing behind their giant war table, as Daxio sits in one of the chairs. That little, there's the large half-orc female is off to his right-hand side that you can see, who's got, standing there with her arms crossed, with like that kind of look on her face of, I'm the muscle here. Get to him, you got to get through me, kind of bodyguard bouncer ish look. As Daxio is sitting on in looks like a foldable wooden chair, as he's kind of leaning down, as that red-haired halfling with the two short swords that you noticed previously seems to be whispering into his ear as you guys are coming in.
Greetings.
As we walk in, I turn to the sergeant and I go, very well done. Good achieving of your goal.
Thank you.
No problem.
More
As a
compliments for
reward,
that
you
one.
may go and play with your friends.
Just lay
Compliments
it
for that
down.
No more compliments for that one. New target.
Just a thank you would suffice, Master Thorn.
All right. As he kind of closes the flap.
I was told to treat them like a nice child. That's what I'm doing.
Daxio stands up after the halfling kind of gets done whispering into his ear, and steps forward and says, "I must admit, I am impressed. I did not expect you to be able to accomplish your goal, let alone so quickly. It appears that the giants are breaking camp, from what my scouts tell me. It also appears, from what my scouts tell me, that you partook in the hunts and were rather successful."
Yeah.
Our thanks. And indeed, in the hunts we helped out and very successful they were. Hence, the tribe is returning to their homelands.
Yes, as the purpose here has been completed.
Yes, your scouts did a very good job. They're good young people.
Yes, we trained them quite adequately.
The news travel fast. With
Indeed.
the pressing matter being resolved, we hope to turn our eye towards a more longer solution of this conflict of interest.
Hmm.
We may take some of your time.
Absolutely. He kind of snaps his fingers, and the half-orc female walks to the edge of the tent, and you hear her exchange some words with the sergeant as several more of those folding wood chairs are brought in and placed on the opposite side of the table from Daxio as he sits down again and kind of gestures for you to be able to all take it. There's enough chairs for all of you as he gestures for you to be able to take a seat.
We'll sit down.
I stand.
I assure you, Master Turtle, the chair can take the weight.
I was looking at Tharn, just like knowingly,
Hey.
like just
Chair.
believe
It's
more-
a well-constructed chair.
It seems like a fine chair.
Is there no refreshments that can be provided for you?
I believe more
No
comfortable.
one. I ate before I came.
the general.
I
Very
believe
well.
more comfortable Thorn
attempting
is
to be
standing.
polite. Yes.
Very
Yes,
well.
I didn't feel like sitting. Are we?
Stand if you wish.
Yes.
Moving
yes,
on.
Of course.
Move-
This is
Moving on.
This is how we meet. So I sit down.
All right. You sit down.
Apparently, this is necessary for business. We can't just.
That's hemorrhoids.
All
That's why he
right.
doesn't want to sit. That's definitely what it is. he doesn't have his donut.
He says, you, when you were last here, did speak of a more permanent arrangement. I must admit, this appealed to me as having to come down here away from the fort on a regular basis is not something that I think my troops are. Let me be frank. I do not believe that is what my troops should be used for. And this delay with the giants, if it at all can be prevented in the future, is something I'd be greatly interested in. However, I must warn you ahead of time, any arrangements or agreements that we come to here, though they may have my blessing, mean little without the approval of the council.
Certainly.
Right. Well, I've spoken
Just-
with the council, and I can certainly make them agree to whatever agreement gets reached. This is not Fort
Wait.
Daxio?
No,
This is
Fort
part of
Daxio
the
is-
troops.
about a day and a half's march north.
This is a fort, is it not?
It's a temporary palisade,
You're Daxio, aren't you?
indeed.
And this is not the Fort Daxio that.
This is a fort, and I am Daxio, but this is not Fort Daxio. Fort Daxio is carved into the mountains of the Cliff Keep north of here. It was actually a joint venture between the dwarves of Craghammer and Amon.
The
centuries
great
ago.
abomination
Right.
carving in the mountain to the north. That's Fort Daxio.
Rather
Long.
disruptive this whole happening is indeed to your operations, General Daxio.
Yes.
Yet the same goal, I believe, you and the Giants have on this, as you seek to keep the trade routes open and safe. The Giants merely seek to provide themselves with the necessary resources.
And then continue on as they have
So
today.
I see.
Right.
This event with the bullets. I assume this is some sort of annual or semi-annual thing that will be happening again in the future?
Yes, it is
so
not just a regular thing for them. It has been going on for centuries.
So just the understanding, yes.
Yes.
Yet if the tribe is free to hunt, you can see a quick solution and a quick culling of the herd can be done due to the bullets.
Yes. All they wish to do is provide for themselves for another year.
It's strange. If this is a semi-annual event, it's never really been an issue on the road before.
From what we have heard,
assuming.
'twas...
I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
From what we have heard, it seemeth to be something that hath changed over time, changing the way the herds of bullets go. Part of it perhaps with the trade route itself changing over the years, but if the herd can be allowed to assist in this more, perhaps things can get back to a more reasonable way again.
Yes,
The
because of
herds,
this is the activities of these new people spreading into this area have caused a change in the herd's migratory patterns. It would appear that the peoples out here are having their own impact on the environment, causing these herds to move further south and into the roads.
So we're hoping perhaps that both sides can adapt to the situation and even things out for everyone again.
It's a understandable explanation. Master What was your name again, sir?
You may call me what you will. My friends here call me Thorn, as do others.
That will suit. Your explanation holds water. And what solution do you suggest? And do your words carry the weight of the giants and their leaders?
I have been tasked with the giants to begin the conversation and to see if there's pathways towards moving forward. I do not claim to speak for their tribe, nor am I able to agree to anything on their behalf, any more than you are able to be the stamp on anything that has not yet been approved by the council. But I have been charged to see if there is any sort of common ground for the basis of an agreement, and if you are open, then for you to join us at the Goblin Camp, the Giant Camp, by midday, and before they head back to their settled lands for the purpose of a parley.
in short, the final word we do not carry, yet the interest we do.
Exactly the thing I just said.
First steps, then.
Yes. Mutual beneficial arrangement, yes.
Very well. Do you come with an arrangement to present?
We do come with some requirements that would be necessary as a first step to doing this, yes.
Please share them.
Well, first and foremost, we would need for you and your soldiers to recognize the needs of the tribe. That they do travel these lands, they do hunt in these lands, and that just because they are walking does not mean that they are a danger and should be outright murdered for no reason. Just because they are as tall or taller than a tree does not mean that they are a danger.
In return, the interests of the soldiers will also be heeded.
We're
Right,
not
Rosa?
talking about the things in return. We're talking about just the things that he asked what the starting
You are
points
not
were
talking
for the
about the
giant.
things in return. I am.
Well, that's nice for you, but you don't speak for the giants, so.
Hence why I'm talking about the things.
Shango, he's doing well.
That as well.
And if I can provide these requests, what kinds of what's the word I'm looking for? What kinds of compromises are the giants willing to make to benefit my peoples?
Well, perhaps what Shango is trying to bring up before is that if you and your soldiers stop killing off any giant walking through the lands, perchance giants will be a little less jumpy about having to go into a fighting posture anytime they come across a pack of your soldiers.
And perhaps you both can mutually help each other when dealing with things like the Ettins, of which they are not involved, and have
Indeed.
had problems with themselves.
Right. Oh,
Right.
in fact, and I motion towards Spike and I go, "You see, Mr. Daxio, Ettins is the name of a type of giant that has two heads. These are very, very bad giant things. However, stone giants are of a different color. They grow to a slightly different height and have only one head. Ettins and giants, though they are both part of giantkin, are different. Like how you are not like a dwarf, but yet you are a humanoid like a dwarf. Yes?
He looks at you with like a no shit Sherlock face. And it's just like,
We're
yes, I'm aware.
Very good.
Much
Very,
like-
very good.
Much
and
like
I turn to Pike and I nod.
much like the shorter, thicker, more well-armored fire giants of the north that continuously harass my men and Fort Daxio.
Yes, they are different than the stone giants also. They are a different color. They are taller.
Yep.
They
They're actually
carry different
shorter,
weaponry
Master
and have-
Thon.
Fire giant? I thought
Fire giants are taller.
Are
were
shorter and more
14, fire
squat.
giants
Oh,
are
really?
16.
Fire giants are thicker and shorter, like Wolverine.
Hmm.
Stone giants are taller and lankier.
Okay.
I'm like
Anyway.
95%
Where-
sure. I'll double check for you.
So I'm pretty sure the
It's
height
canon.
scale goes
It's canon now, yeah.
hill giant, Etten, stone giant, fire giant, storm giants are the
Yeah, the biggest, yeah.
biggest.
Yes.
Big boy, 28 feet.
Sky
big
giants are the
boys.
next down.
Math, giant
Yeah.
math.
Yeah, just fire giants are not much, but slightly shorter and thicker than stone giants.
Okay then. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
Fire giants are shorter. They're a different color.
It's
And though they are
Exactly.
also giantkin, they are not the same as the stone giants. So yes, the fire giants harassing your troops to the north are not the stone giants who have settled and lived amongst this valley for many centuries. Very good.
We're-
Very good.
I believe what Master Thon is almost getting at is that we could show you that these ones can be peaceful, are peaceful for the most part, and mean you no harm as long as no harm is meant to them. And we're trying to extend the proverbial olive branch.
Yes.
indeed. By allowing the tribe of the giants to go on their hunts and keep their strength, they can and will, in return, keep the bullets and threats such as the Ettins low in this area.
Well, they have presented requests of theirs. Perhaps before this parley, then, you could present a request of mine to them.
Certainly.
In this instance of potentially mutually beneficial arrangement, as you've called it.
Yes. I mean, we hadn't addressed a number of the things we were here to address yet, but yes, please.
Well,
What?
don't let me interrupt you then. I can wait.
Well, the other standards of requirement for the Giants are, as we said, first and foremost, to cease hostilities towards these stone giants who are simply trying to live their lives here in the valley as they always have. To recognize that the bullet herding is a necessary part of their life, and that whilst the hope is that the herds, of course, do not further interact with your roads and deliveries, city things, that they will be doing this regularly, and that simply going and murdering all of the bullets or the herd itself or the tribe itself would be against their interest. And understanding that that you are on this land and they are on this land, and both of you are attempting to live lives and do things, and that it is not fair to either party to interrupt that. And as they do not interrupt you, that you should stop interrupting them. That is a starting point for the negotiations, I believe.
I would agree. The mutual uninterruption would be beneficial, as what you are telling me, that should we allow the giants to continue their hunts, and continue to... If what you are saying is that by our mutual assistances to one another, they can control the bullet population enough that they will not make it thus far south and influence the passage of trade on the roads? Is that what you're suggesting?
That is certainly what we shall attempt. However,
Such is the intent.
Bullets are large monstrosities.
I know what
that
a
have
bullet
the ability
is,
to
Master
burrow
Han.
under the.
I am aware
such
of
is the
bullet.
Such is the intent of the arrangement, certainly.
That is certainly the intent
Guarantees
of the
are
arrangement, but the bullet herd will go where the bullet herd goes.
Guarantees are hard to give, as you probably see.
However, given how good your scouts are, perhaps such scouting between yourselves and the stone giants could make it easier to understand where the bullets might show up and be able to better hunt before they can reach the roads. Perhaps?
It would certainly, in these times of peace, which I, don't be mistaken, I am grateful for, would give my soldiers something to do other than sit at the fort and grow lazy with drink. I don't see a problem with any of the requests that you've put forward. Here are mine.
Takes out a notebook.
In the future, should their attempt to control the bullet population not be successful, I would appreciate a forewarning before they come down and shut down my trade routes, to let me be aware of what's going on in the future to avoid any confused confrontation. In the interests of our scouts sharing information on the movement of bullet herds, it would be greatly beneficial to me for them to share any intelligence that they might have on the movement of the fire giants that continually harass Fort Daxio, and if possible, assistance in dealing with said aggressive and violent creatures.
Is that
Certainly.
the end of the list, or do you have more points?
Simple as that, Master Thorn.
Simple as that. Then obviously I cannot speak specifically on behalf of the on behalf of the giants, but I can certainly bring that ideal to them and see what they have to say about it.
Can I see outside from here in the tent?
You could if the flaps were open. What exactly you're trying to...
I stand up and start walking towards the flaps, going, "What time is it? What?" And I try to look outside and find the sun to get an idea of what
Make
time it is.
a quick nature check for me. Not a hard one. Certainly not for you. As you know what? Don't even. You're fine. You look up. I'm not even gonna make. Why would I even make you roll?
I don't know.
Because fun.
Because rolling dice is fun, except we don't actually.
Exactly.
It's true.
So you take a look out into the sky, and you guys got going pretty early. Actually, you guys all got up fairly early, and it's probably like 9:45, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I believe we have the groundings for an agreement. Hold, please.
And I cast sending
Okay.
to the Stone
Speaker?
Shaper. Stone Speaker?
Shaper? Yeah. Sorry.
Whichever one you want to call him.
Stone Shaper. Sorry.
What's in a name, really? And so I cast sending.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Stone Shaper. What's up? Like, you
Yeah, you got a few more.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you actually say?
Oh no!
I send as a message. The discussion with Daxio is going well. They have some requirements, but nothing I feel you can't agree to. Still set to meet at noon?
The little bit of time passes, and she says, I'll be interested to hear their requests, but a meeting before noon, yes, is still agreeable.
All right. Mr. Daxio.
General
please-
Daxio.
Great. General Daxio. Would you join us in returning to the giant camp as they are breaking down to meet with the Stone Shaper, Stone Bender, Stone guy
Later.
Woman,
to...
not guy.
Stone Shaper Dahuni.
Would you come to meet with the Stone Shaper so that we might continue the beginnings of this discussion in a more formalized atmosphere?
Very well. I will be allowed to bring a small retinue with me.
Certainly.
That depends on what that is, but sure.
Would I be allowed to bring some protection, as on several of my soldiers and my second in command and master of scouts?
Certainly. If
The
more time
more
for
the merrier.
preparation you need.
When does this meeting need to take place?
Well, we're ready to leave to go back there now.
Sooner the better.
Before noon, I believe the Stone Shaper
Yes,
wished. Before they left.
the sooner the sooner
They
the
plan
better.
to leave at high sun. Like, if you're prepared to walk now, we are.
So now, then?
Yes. If
See how easy
is
that was?
Okay with you.
I'll meet you outside the gate in about 10 minutes.
Oh, thanks, General.
Wonderful.
Oh, thanks to your understanding and cooperation.
And frankly, if I may speak frankly,
Certainly.
as much as it surprises me, I would like to thank you for your quick handling of this situation. You have exceeded my expectations.
Wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, and as a side note, could you please not
It is-
just go someplace, deforest a bunch of trees because you're scared of the outside, and not make little pointy forts like this at the expense of an entire grove?
I will take it under consideration.
Excellent. We will see you outside. Very well done, young man. And I walk away.
He's actually probably
Sure.
a couple hundred years older than you.
Yeah.
Is that a thing that I know?
He's an elf.
No, but I'm just
Sure.
saying that as an aside, as Bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even with him as an elf, all I know about him is that he's a guy. He's in full armor and stuff, right? Like he's not walking around like.
There should be a
Yeah.
picture. There's a picture of him. I put it in his little
Yeah.
NPC thing.
He's hot.
Yeah.
Have
Ren
you
is just
seen
going to
him?
give him like a very understanding look and give a very polite bow. Thank you for your time and your understanding, General. And then she's going to turn and go.
Glad we are to have been of assistance.
Yes, yes. As you guys leave the tent and are escorted by the sergeant at arms to the outside of the gate, you wait for probably only like 7.5 minutes as Daxio arrives with his half-orc lieutenant and the halfling scoutmaster and a detachment of probably 30 soldiers. As he comes out on a beautiful white steed, not too dissimilar from Valor.
That's my horse.
He
Took my
says,
horse.
"At your lead."
I look at the 30 men. That seems a large group to.
Shall we?
Yes.
Here we go. And I just walk towards the river and swim through.
Yep. So you guys ford the river again using a combination of swimming and the magic carpet and so on and so forth. As you arrive at the other side, you're kind of impressed with the efficiency of how quickly the camp is being broken down. It's almost completely ready for travel.
Curiosity question.
Yes.
How does Daxio go across the river?
He fords it on the horse.
Oh, Patton over here, just like.
Yep.
DM, when we get to the giant encampment, and I find the stone shaper, I'm going to tell Daxio, wait here, and I'm going to go and speak with the stone shaper first.
Yep. As you guys get to the camp, Daxio and his men arrive on the outside. They all are looking around, trying to figure out the situation, seeing these strange bullet chariots and kind of like giving them like these weird side glances and continually, as anything that is smaller around such large beings, they all seem to be on edge and a little skittish and kind of,
Please.
the physical size difference is as you can see, it's making them a bit jumpy.
Please. Please
but
be at ease as much as you can. No harm shall befall you here.
worry not, my men are disciplined and will not act without my order.
Certain of that I am.
Common emotions prepped.
Just in case.
Got it.
But he dismounts, or he stays up on his horse and says to you, Thorn, as you instruct, I shall wait here. As you, just
I've already walked
Tharn that's
away.
going? Yeah, is it just Tharn that's going to find the stone shaper? Or?
Yeah,
I'll stick with Daxia for the time being.
Yeah.
I'll keep everybody at ease.
All right. So just Tharn's going to find the stone shaper?
Unless
It sounds like-
he seemed like he wanted to go alone, but just to learn, like keeping in.
All right, so we'll say the two of you
Mhm.
go unless you tell her not to follow Tharn.
No.
All right. All right, so the two of you go off. It's not hard to find the Stone Shaper as she's kind of on her way towards you already, having noticed the, 30-some soldiers crossing the river. But she approaches and says, I understand you've arrived with several soldiers. I'm sorry, I was combination like Daxio's voice.
Yeah.
I understand you've arrived with several soldiers and their leader.
Yes, he seems skittish, so he brought people with him.
Very
Tis
well.
common among their people, yes.
Sure. This is where we stand. He seems open to a guarantee of security for the large folk, that his soldiers and others in the valley not simply punch you or attack you upon sight. I explained to him the difference between Ettins, fire giants, and stone giants, and I think he understands. He seemed a little confused at part of it, but I was able to explain it in small enough words that I think he knows that you are all not the same. Firstly, he is willing to guarantee that violence against you simply for being and attacking you and your people when on the hunt or traveling the area would not be allowed. Secondly, he seems open and willing to allowing for the continuation of the Grand Bullet hunt and herding. Third, there was a third point, I'm fairly certain.
There was a third point, right?
I'm sorry for who?
He was willing to
Well,
perhaps...
You mean his requests?
No.
The
The request
giant's
towards
request.
there was the potential of
oh.
his scouts being able to assist with locations, being able
Yes.
to spread information between the two of you to keep the bullets away from the trade routes in the beginning and be able to better hunt them before it gets to that point.
Well, I imagine he isn't willing to give all of this freely. We need to keep the balance. So, what is it he asks for in return?
The first few things he asks
Taking out
for
journal.
seem fairly simple. He seems he wishes to obviously secure that no harm from your tribe shall come to travelers in the area, or military patrols, or their precious shipments that they move around on their roads. I believe he is most confused, thinking that it's your tribe that is attacking these shipments and these people randomly, willy-nilly bashing people in, instead of understanding that Ettins and other creatures are the ones that are doing this. That seems an easy one to agree to.
Indeed, as it is not us to disrupt their trade routes.
Right. So, an agreement to that seems simple. The secondary thing that they wanted was a guarantee that the bullet herds would not be interfering with travel upon their roads. However, I'm fairly certain that in talking with him, you can agree that it is not your it is not your tribe that pushes them there, but instead the interference of other humanoids in the area that have caused their migration south. I'm sure that by using their scouts to find it, you should be able to prevent the herds from moving that south and disrupting trade again, yes?
It is something we can endeavor towards. I'm not sure we can guarantee that it will never happen.
No, in that case, though, he did wish perhaps to, in the hope of continuing communication, to get some forewarning if the herd's migration would eventually go through the trade routes before it happens to avoid any unnecessary confrontation.
That could be worked out, though I am the only one of my people who can communicate with the soldiers, and I cannot leave my people every time I have to go and inform them of a rogue bullet migration. Someone will have to instruct my people in how to communicate with them. Or them
Well,
with
that can
us.
certainly be handled, but also allow me to teach you the spell Sending, which you probably know as a druid.
I remember hearing something about it, yes.
I can show you a spell that you can utilize to message from where you are to this Daxio person. Oh, by the way, he demands on being called General Daxio.
That is his title.
Sure it is. However, the same spell that I just used to communicate with you, I can show you that spell so that you might use it to communicate any information with him and he with you.
Very well.
The third, I believe, is the most important, and though not a sticking point, it would seem for them, something that I wanted to make sure you knew about before entering these negotiations. You know of the fire giant tribes to the north, yes?
She gives less of a verbal yes and more of an affirmative growl.
Apparently, these fire giants have been, on occasion, assailing the troops of Daxio and possibly also his fort. You know, the monstrosity that they carved into the stones to the north.
I don't know that I would call it a monstrosity. It is not unsimilar to the dwellings we build in the mountain, though more fancy.
This gives a thankful look at the stone shaper at that.
You hollow out areas for simple caves that you might live with the land. They do what they can to destroy the rock so that they might conquer it.
Thaunt is not that simple.
Regardless.
It's very simple. Either way, the fire giants up there are harassing them. So, they would ask that you would aid them when needed in fighting back against the fire giants.
Or at least providing
or helping them
intelligence where needed about their movement.
Yes, that.
It's been a long time since we've come into conflict with the fire giants, though I will admit there is no love lost between us.
You and your people have no need to get involved in this fight with the fire giants to the north. Fire giants are generally a distasteful lot. But if they are going to harry and harass back and forth with these Daxioums, then let that stay their business. I would advise guaranteeing that you would be happy to help provide them with any information that your people come across about the movement of these fire giants. Any information you have about if they start making their way through the mountain, what have you. But mark my words, stop short of guaranteeing that you would throw the lives of your people away simply to help protect these humans and elves encampment.
Yes, all they truly wished for was information. The potential assistance was simply an add-on, but it is not necessary.
If I'm being honest, the fire giants have been an issue for us as well. Though not recently, over the years, they have come and captured some of my tribe to take to work their furnaces below the mountain.
They are certainly a danger. But
it is something I would be willing to discuss in more detail with this General Daxio.
Oh, good. I just wanted you to know that that was what was on the table. and that there is a way, I believe, to guarantee that you would assist them with information, but without putting your people in danger. This Daxio seems to want to handle the fire giants on his own. I think giving them a little information to help them defeat this other enemy would be beneficial for them, but would not endanger you or yours.
I will admit it's nothing that I don't think we couldn't agree to.
Good. Good.
Let's go talk with this General Daxio.
Yes. Eliobath.
Stands
away
up and
journal.
you guys head back. As you come back over with just the Stone Shaper and the two of you, the entirety of Daxio's forces, kind of as she gets closer and closer, just continually kind of doing that, like, craning the neck upwards as they look, as she comes over. As you guys are approaching, you watch as Daxio hops down off of his horse, walks up. As he's walking up, he unsheathes his sword and hands it over to the half-orc lieutenant. And you recognize this, Cortanus, as this is kind of old school. Something soldiers had done for a long time when coming to parley. They, the leaders leave their weapons behind. As he's kind of following
that
tradition.
As we're walking up, the Stone Shaper picks up a giant boulder and then just hands it to me.
And you get crushed underneath.
I'm on my back. I'm on my back.
Roll for stats.
As you come up, the Stone Shaper greets the general, and the two of them disappear into one of the large giant tents for, as you guys are checking it, what seems like at least an hour or better. And some of you are, the pacing. Some of the soldiers start out standing like, in show of formation, but after a while, as time goes on and on, they kind of start, not standing at such attention anymore, and kind of start talking a little bit, and you guys are sitting around and whatnot.
Yeah. We'll offer water from the alchemy jug for anyone who wants it.
Yep.
I'll pick a soldier off and just start talking with him. Why not? Just idle chit chat.
Yeah. After a good hour and a half, as it's getting close to the top, the midday, with literally almost every other part of the Stone Giants camp ready to travel other than this one hut, as the rest of the tribe of Stone Giants and Goliaths appear to kind of be gathering around themselves after, kind of finishing all their instructed work and not having anything else to do. It's strange almost kind of seeing the two forces squared off, but not in a, like, the difference in, the regimented, ordered soldiers from the fort and this enormous tribe of Goliaths and Stone Giants. Eventually, the flaps open up and Daxio walks out with a smile on his face first, as he's followed by the Stone Shaper, as they both walk up to you, and they say, and Daxio says, "Wow, I must admit, you continue to confound expectation. It would appear that a mutually beneficial agreement can be reached." He reaches into his pouch and takes out a large piece of parchment that has a lot of, it's several rolls of parchment that all have writing on it. And at the bottom, it's signed by Daxio with his seal. and he says, "The Stone Shaper says she is unable to read common, and asked that you look this over before she signs it for you to bring back to Amon and present to the council."
Well,
Yes,
certainly.
yes. Here, I take it, I unroll it, I adjust my gigantic glasses.
You read through it.
I hold it further away.
Yeah.
Eventually, Katana's just holding it
Wait.
and like pulling it back.
Would you like me? Yeah. Another 10 feet. Another 10 feet.
I turn to Shango. I go, would you mind walking it 20 feet that way and pointing it towards me?
Sure.
There we go.
I'll use minor illusion to make every word big one after the other.
Yeah, like when you set
function
the
on
text to large on your iPhone.
Yeah.
No, my glasses already do that. It's just I can't, like, my arms aren't long enough to keep it, like, far
First
away.
letter is a T. 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 H. H. D. E. E. The. Oh God, we're gonna hear for a while.
So you read through it, and everything is pretty much the same bullet points that each party has offered. However, it looks like the final thing, which was is a bullet point at the end, which pertains to the fire giants, which says that it points of need from either side. Either the giants or the soldiers can call upon the other in dealing with the fire giants should A, more raids happen to the stone giants, or B, more assaults happen on the fort, is the final bullet point before Daxio has signed it.
Okay. I read through it and I read through it again, and I go over to the party and go, city folk have a tendency with things like this to possibly grow quite tricky with their wording. I see nothing here necessarily that jumps out at me as being potentially dangerous, but I would ask that, being more familiar with the terminology they use, that there might be a double meaning to some of these words, or the way they are constructed, that perhaps you would look at reading through it and telling me what you think.
Certainly, we shall take a look at this
Absolutely.
further.
4
Yeah,
times now. Why not?
Peek over it.
I'll allow one of you to make an investigation check with advantage from somebody assisting.
Shango.
Oh.
Sure.
I cast guidance on him.
Okay. You have guidance, Shango.
I don't know, Bureau.
I'm getting.
Hey!
Good.
Out of pro.
We do, not bad.
22 total.
There is indeed some clever language in there. However, it's nothing more than you know. It's in that last clause as well. But it's
Yeah.
nothing. It's nothing that's. It essentially it leaves room for either side. Based on the terminology used, that either side can call on either side in instances of an extreme emergency. So it's not super spelled out. It essentially it looks like it leaves room for either side to
Gotcha. So
say
basically,
say no. We don't think that this meets the level of you needing us
yeah.
to.
It basically just says, hey, we help you in an emergency, but it's not really well defined what an emergency is.
You didn't define what
right?
emergency is, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, this is an emergency. Like, no, it's not. So there could be some arguing there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll convey that like everything is as written, and if the stone shapers are on, I'll tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as probably discussed with you, Stone Shepherd, the unit, the last point in regards to the fire giants is for helping each other in the case of attacks or dire situations. Where you are at this point, correct?
That is what we agreed to in the tent, yes. If you think it's, if as you go over it, whether and she continually nods, yes, that's what we. So eventually she says, and she reaches down, and as opposed to signing her name, essentially dunks her thumb into some of the black ink and then like leaves a thumbprint on because she can't leave like a handprint.
Yeah.
Oh, the entirety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She just takes the
pinky
tip of her
print.
pinky and just
Pinky print.
there's like a little pinky print.
That's where you put a
on
signet. That works. That works.
on there. As you hand it back to Daxio, he rolls it up, seals it with some red sealing wax in his seal, hands it back to you, and says, "I trust that this will be safely delivered into the hands of the council by you."
Certainly, with
Yes.
utmost expedience.
Pass over to
Excellent.
Nox to put in the bag of holding for safekeeping.
He does so. As both Daxio and the stone giant kind of bow to one another, Daxio looks at all of you and says, "I must say I am pleasantly surprised to find how efficiently you've all been able to deal with this issue, taking something that, for me, was a headache to something that could be invaluable to me and my soldiers in the future. You have my thanks.
As
Should
to
you
you,
ever need refuge, you can find it at Fort Daxio. That includes you, Master Thorn."
great.
or thanks to you for the gracious offer. I believe a start to a prosperous future this is.
I agree. Well, my men and I must go take down that pointy-sticked grove and return to the fort.
If I may, one curiosity I have you had encounters or knowledge of the Terra tribe of the Ashari, which I believe is in this area?
Not quite in this area. They are quite a ways to the northeast in the heart of the Cliffkeep Mountains. We have our rare dealings with them through you see your leader, the voice of the Tempest, though I haven't spoken to one of them since shortly after the events of the Chroma Conclave, when the chaos or crisis orbs were installed.
It's certainly understandable. I'm really curious I was of their whereabouts and well-beings.
I will admit we knew little of them until your leader, Lady Keyleth, started integrating them into the greater society of Taldore. They, to be honest, have been of some assistance in dealing with the dangers of the mountains, as well as they know it.
I'm glad to hear. As the Ashari, we strive to keep the safety and peace of Tal'Dorei at our foremost importance.
And you will eternally have my thanks for that, especially for the part your people played in the liberation of Amon.
Such is our duty.
Well, my men and I have work to do, if you'll excuse
Certainly.
us.
Yes, we shall hold you no longer.
He mounts his horse, and him and his men disappear back across the river. The Stone Shaper says her thank yous as well, as the final tent is broken down and thrown onto one of the bullet chariots. As they she kneels down to say her goodbyes, and I wanted to thank you, Skipping Rock. You have been most helpful in this one of our most greatest times of need. And the people you have brought have shown us nothing but kindness and respect.
Yes, they seem a good lot. It is always my pleasure to help know of this. That which is right and in the teachings of the Wild Mother must always be present. Good stewardship of the land is a vital part of your people, and I support that and will always support that, and you.
Promise me you'll look after these lot on their trip back to the city?
Well, yes, of course. I must make sure that I, of course, will make sure that they are safe and well kept.
That was a long pause.
That was the second everybody goes to bed, I'm fucking leaving. That's what that was. Like, you are safe now, and you will be safe until morning, and then I
Bye.
fade into the distance.
I'll take second watch.
Okay, bye.
With that, the Stone Shaper says her final goodbyes to you. You are able to say your final goodbyes to the tribe. Sayao, the guy whose ass you kicked in the stone circle, slips you water, a travel water skin with some more of that ayahuasca tea in it, for you to take with you. As their bullet chariots begin to roll off to the northwest.
Do kind of
and
get
shortly,
a quick pat for Fluffy before as it goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Taketh care of
You
them.
be good. You be good.
as this you can see in the distance the soldiers beginning to deconstruct the palisade fort. And that is where we will end things tonight.
Hey.
I
Hey.
Go team.
think that was a great character growth moment for Tharn at the end there.
Oh, so close to perfection.
That was almost better than adequate.
Yeah, right.
Anything I could say about it.
Yeah, well, I
totally-
mean, you guys took actual time to talk to me and convince and try to show me and try to explain why you wanted me to do it differently instead of just being like, oh, hey, do it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally the not making any sense was totally in character for Katanas because we both got very little sleep last night. So.
There's just that one point where I'm trying to follow. I was like, even I built
sorry.
a
I'm
human,
like, fuck,
did not
where
follow.
the fuck was I going? Trying to...
What?
Fuck.
I was like, I think we're getting lost in the analogy.
Yeah,
That is a
got away
very
from me.
round circle you guys are making. A very round circle that does not need to be there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I tried so hard. Like, oh fuck, where was I going?
Hey,
I
Tharn,
was
were
so
you
fingerless
excited when you
gloves?
said treat him like, because I was like, oh, this is perfect. I know exactly how children are treated. I know I know
How else
exactly
does
how
a crotchety
children-
old man treat children? Yells at
Well,
him.
I know exactly how turtle children are raised.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
Get off
Like,
my shell! How dare you! I am not a jungle gym. I am a man.
shit.
Tharn, were you able to catch up and see how much experience you actually have?
yeah, I actually don't know what the for the thing.
Oh, you didn't know the thing. The what?
I asked somebody what the link was for the Twitch channel like weeks ago, but I forgot to write it down, so I have no idea. I haven't watched
I'll
it.
give you my YouTube
link it in chat.
archive playlist.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, let me hand out experience real quick. Shango, you had 18. Tharn, you had 19. Kurtanis, you had 18. Fike, you had 18. And Sayao, you had 20.
Hey.
Kicking a giant ass. Goliath
Nope.
ass.
I totally got
kicking that Goliath's ass.
Yay!
Totally
Forgot
got
that you didn't use your action surge in the fight, so you still had it in the
Yeah.
in the arena there in the stone circle.
Oh, also, in case anybody was wondering,
Also, it's a short rest, so.
that
Yeah, you guys
that
didn't
long,
short rest. Hadn't short rested. I don't think. You finished the fight, you walked back and started partying.
Fair.
Partying is hard work.
I thought we had like the heroes feast, and that would be part of it.
No, that's the hero's feast. But anyway,
that long pause that I had, by the way, was all about Tharn like realizing, oh shit, I have to go back to the city now.
Yeah,
It's part of my responsibilities.
I kind of figured it.
Problem and everything.
Damn it! I thought.
And you'll watch them on the way back to the city, right? It's like, well, I'm not going back to. Oh, gee, man, I have to go back to the city now, don't I?
Fuck! I thought I was done with it for good.
No. I'll watch them on the way back. Sure.
Look, I offered this twice, and I can't offer it again. I kind of said we could burn the camp down. Done it before.
Yeah,
It's
but
too late now.
it was a camp of ravagers and hobgoblins.
I don't know if you know this, Bill, but everything burns. No matter what it is.
Just like to say,
burns.
I just like to say I'm at 69 experience. Nice. Nice.
Oh, that's why you asked me last week, like, how the fuck am I so... You were like 2 or 3 weeks behind, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like 70, 80 experience behind because I guess, I missed
Those few weeks when you were gone the one time, and then
Down in the Underdark, you missed like 3 sessions or something.
Yeah,
when
was
you
it?
were
Yeah, I don't
kidnapped.
remember. It was 2. Yeah, it was 2 or 3 sessions that I missed there, and then one in the spring at some point, or was it one?
Yeah.
Maybe all the 2. Yeah.
This session 2, and that was it. I've had a perfect record since then.
Yeah. I think like late February or March.
I haven't missed a single session.
Shut up.
Points.
Go Bull.
Oh, and as an extra point, Will,
Yeah.
thanks again last week for pulling that shit on me again.
Yeah.
What?
The second
This is
time
second-
you almost killed me with that fucking bullshit. We had another game where it was a home game in Florida, and we were in the Underdark. We had and there were portals out of the Underdark, and we had taken one of those portals out, slept the night, went back into the portal, and as soon as we walk in, 20 invisible Duragar fired crossbows into the party and then attacked us. And at some point, a white dragon that was burrowing was supposed to pop out. And Will's big idea was, when the dragon pops out, your party and the Duragar are all going to fight it, and the dragon is going to target the Duragar. Except Will made it a statistic when the dragon pops out, so at the 20 count for every round, he just rolled a die. And for 4 rounds, the dragon didn't come. So me and the rest of the party get the shit kicked out of us, but managed to kill almost all the Duragar. And then the white dragon comes, and there's no one else to attack it, and he almost TPKs the entire party. He kills everyone except 2 of us, and then we spend the rest of the day with just me and the other guy trying to escape the Underdark.
Oh no.
And I'm the only one who makes it out alive with 2 hit points left.
Oh.
Actually, I believe you had
Solid.
1 hit point left.
I
Because
did have 1 hit point because I was a half orc, and I
You were a
went
half
down
orc.
and came back up.
Yeah,
I had
and you
had-
movement left after I got through the portal out of the Underdark. And
Running on fumes.
I was still relatively early in my DM career, and I was a little iffy on making balanced encounters. And I was like, this is what I'll do. At initiative count 20, I'll just roll a d20, and I have to get over this number, and that's when the dragon will appear in the middle of a fight, and there'll be like 30 Duragar in the party, and it'll be like this 3-way thing where the Duragar, like depending on where they are, they're either like the dragon's obviously the bigger threat, and they had these siege weapon like ballista that they could fire at the dragon and stuff. So, but by the time I rolled for the dragon to show up, there was like 5 Duragar left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
hard,
our party
though.
was beat to shit.
Yeah. It's hard to. It can quickly swing one way or the other, right? You think you make it bounce and counter, and all of a sudden it turns out super easy because of a couple of good or bad rolls.
Yeah, I should have just had him show up like after one round
At a
of
certain
combat
point.
or something like that instead. But I
Next time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
that was the
And-
second time that in the middle of the battle, a random extra jumbo-sized enemy showed up and almost murdered me.
You were totally fine last week, Mark. You were totally fine.
Yeah.
You
Oh
were
yeah, no, I mean I had it
close, right?
covered.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You
Well,
were just
here's-
swallowed with single-digit HP. You're fine.
Yeah, this is
Well, here's the thing. It popped out where there was the biggest concentration of people, which just so happened to be where you were, Mark.
Yeah, no,
And
I know.
If Sayal was the one that that failed to save, it would have tried to eat him, but you're the only one that failed to save after the hit, so it had to attack you.
It
But-
went perfectly. That was perfect.
Oh, that Bill's trying to say, make your save. If you can't make your save, you will die. So
Yeah, right.
make your save.
Make your save.
Yeah.
Just make your save. That's all you need to do. Just make
Yeah.
the
All you have
fucking
to do is make your save.
Oh, my bad.
save.
Next time I roll
Guys,
better.
Legit, no BS. Like while it's happening, it did not escape me. Like what was happening again, and I was like, "Oh no, Mark's gonna be." I was honestly sitting there like, "Mark's gonna be pissing me. He's gonna think I'm like targeting him or something."
No, I think it would have been better if you killed the rest of the party. Right, again.
If I killed the rest of the party and only Tharn survived.
Yeah. Well, this sucks,
Wait.
but back to nature.
I've seen this before. Nice knowing you all.
Okay, bye.
That was one
I
of my
Total
gave
hack.
all of you very proper burials, according to the Wild Mother.
So basically, turning you into compost.
And
Nope.
taking the swords.
I'm opening up that Matt Mercer. You take over someone's body and you put your soul in it, and then that's how you
Oh, the
fight.
Revenant?
Yeah,
Or no, what was it, like the soul?
Unforgotten soul or whatever
Yeah,
the hell
something
it
like
is.
The thing is, I've been playing with Mark a long time now, and his as a DM, some of his characters is like Crawl is one of my, which is the character we're talking about that made it out by himself, is one of my favorite characters I've ever DM'd for.
Nice.
Which one of my favorite things that ever happened in game is we legit in canon. He invented the pub crawl, and it was named. It was named after.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
I heard
named
about this.
after Crawl. Yeah.
Nice.
Because during the pub crawl,
I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be. I'm a flying ace and fly through outer space. Hello, sweetie. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. I'm proud to be in whatever sitch, like singing on Twitch or playing D&D. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. You may call me obsessive, but I just border on being a collector and being a dragon that sits atop my treasure. That's so shiny. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder. And my partners love me for it. I'm a natural 20 when it comes to being me. I'm a time traveler, so Alonzi. I'm a badass, asexual, polyhedral dice holder.